Chapter 671. Wang Fu. If Qin Yun really died, then the happiest would definitely be the faction of the Inscription Palace. However, they also have quite a bit of regret in their hearts. This is because Qin Yun's greatest value is that he can be used to exchange for the Star Lord Inscription Spirit with Yang Shiriyue. A Long family half-immortal said, "Qin Yun is dead, it will be even more difficult to obtain the Star Lord Inscription Spirit. Right now, we don't know if Yang Shiriyue is really hiding in the remote Moon Mountain range. Only by capturing Qin Yun can we force her to show herself." The Medicine Immortal Valley's half-immortal let out a long sigh. He also felt that Qin Yun is dead, and it will be even more difficult to obtain the Star Lord Inscription Spirit. Otherwise, they still had a glimmer of hope. The Spirit Desolate was so big. If Yang Shiriyue wanted to hide, it would not be a problem at all. It would be difficult to find her. However, it was different to find Qin Yun. He was in the Immortal Weapon City. Now, Qin Yun's death was equivalent to severing that sliver of hope. Jian Nanhu also felt that it was a great pity. "I have been bitterly cultivating for the past few months, and my strength has increased by a lot. I will definitely be able to defeat Qin Yun. I didn't even have a chance to compete with him before he died." "Brother Hu, is that Devil Star Overlord really very strong? Qin Yun's speed is very fast. Maybe he escaped and is just hiding after being injured," Jian Ruyan said. She has seen Qin Yun's ability to escape. It is not an ordinary level of strength. Jian Nanhu shook his head. "The Devil Star Overlord's speed is at least twice faster than mine. No matter how fast Qin Yun is, he's only slightly faster than me. He's definitely not twice as fast. If he escapes with injuries, his speed will definitely be even slower." Granny Ma said, "We can't use talismans or Dao tools inside, otherwise Qin Yun might be able to escape. I still have a Dao sword with Qin Yun. Consider it as a gift to him. He is an opponent worthy of respect," Jian Nanhu said without any heartache. Everyone knows that Jian Nanhu's Dao sword is a top-notch Dao tool. Especially those half-immortals who are familiar with Jian Shitian, they were used by Jian Shitian in the past. Not only that, many famous experts from the Jian family and the Sword Immortal Pavilion have used that sword before. At this moment, the half-immortal from the Divine Inscription Palace suddenly took out a sound transmission conch. After hearing the sound transmission, his expression changed slightly. "We just received news that a Devil Governing Master's life talisman was burned." "Why? Do you still suspect that it was Qin Yun who killed them? Who didn't know what was going on down there? Your Devil Governing Master must have wanted to control the Devil Star Overlord and was killed," Jian Nanhu coldly snorted and said. At this moment, a middle-aged man flew out from the island. "He is a late-stage Spirit Martial Realm Martial Master," he said with a terrified expression. That Devil Star Overlord is killing everywhere. Many devils and devil beast kings were killed by him in a few moves. Our Devil Governing Masters are also being killed one after another." Jian Nanhu promptly asked, "Did you see the Devil Star Overlord kill the Devil Beast King?" The middle-aged man was sent by the Divine Inscription Palace to contact the Devil Governing Master. He quickly nodded and said, "I saw it. He killed a Devil Beast King in 3 moves. Then, take away the magical Beast King's crystal core. Also, the Devil Star Overlord has recovered a lot of star power, allowing those devils to return to their original form. Elder, hurry up and tear down this barrier. Capture the Devil Star Overlord alive. That is a very good puppet. As long as we send out a Martial King Realm Devil Governing Master, we can control the Devil Star Overlord. Do you know, after that guy devoured a lot of energy, he became bigger and stronger. As long as he has energy, he can constantly become stronger. If we capture the Devil Star Overlord alive and summon a few stars with dense star power, the Devil Star Overlord can also possess the power of a half-immortal or even an immortal." Hearing the middle-aged man's words, the half-immortal of the divine inscription palace immediately became wild with joy. He said, "Everyone, let's quickly join hands and quickly open this barrier." "Do it yourself," Bao Changsho said coldly. "Qin Yun might still be alive. Once the barrier is opened, you can also go in and look for him," the half-immortal of the divine inscription palace quickly said. Back then, the people who set up this barrier were a group of very strong Dao inscription masters. Even a half-immortal would not be able to open it that easily. "You guys do it yourselves. Qin Yun died without even dregs left, don't believe him," Jian Nanhu quickly said. At that time, Qin Yun faced the Devil Star Overlord alone. Maybe he had already become the energy of the Devil Star Overlord. The half-immortal of the divine inscription palace said angrily, "If you don't do it, we'll do it ourselves." Then, he instructed the middle-aged man to invite the Martial King Realm Devil Governing Master over. Jian Rian asked in a low voice, "Sect Master, are Devil Governing Masters rarely used?" Bao Changsho nodded. "They are all people with extremely heaven-defying mental power, so they are very rare." Han Fenghu and the others from his faction only watched from the side and did not make a move to break the barrier. Therefore, only the group of people from the divine inscription palace are attacking the barrier with all their might. "Elder, how much longer do you need?" the middle-aged man asked. "I don't know, it might take more than half a day." The half-immortal is also somewhat anxious. "If we are a little slower, that guy might absorb all the star power inside. When that happens, he will definitely become stronger and it will definitely be difficult to control. Our strongest devil governing master is only a martial king," the middle-aged man said worriedly. "If that guy's strength far surpasses the martial king realm, it will be difficult to control." "Then what do we do now?" The half-immortal is extremely anxious and took out a dazzling golden talisman. The talisman is very thick, like a command medallion. It is completely golden in color. "This is King Talisman. This guy is really willing to spend a lot of money," Han Fenghu said in a low voice. The half-immortal took out a few King Talismans. They are all very precious. The preciousness of King Talismans is no less than a Dao tool. Furthermore, they are extremely powerful. Even many martial emperors do not have such talismans. "Is this the realm-breaking King Talisman?" Han Fenghu said with a frown. "If these few are smashed down, they should be able to break the barrier." The gray-robed half-immortal nodded. "This kind of realm-breaking King Talisman is very difficult to refine. He is really willing to use it." Everyone heard what the middle-aged man said earlier. The Devil Star Overlord is a very special existence. As long as it has energy, its power will increase explosively and there is no bottleneck. It is normal for the divine inscription palace to want it. After all, it is a very expensive item. The half-immortal of the divine inscription palace smashed the King Talisman in his hand down. After it touched the barrier, it released a burst of intense golden light. The golden light enveloped the entire Devil Martial Island. "It didn't break the barrier," Jian Ruyan said with a frown. "The barrier's power has been weakened and some places have been destroyed. After all, this was set up by those ancient inscription masters back then. It's not easy to break," Jian Shirtian said. "Martial kings can go in and they can even use weapons. Quickly let that martial king realm devil governing master go in." A martial king from the divine inscription palace charged in very smoothly. And the half-immortal is still blocked by the barrier. Those few king talismans only weakened the barrier a little, and did not completely destroy it. "I thought that if we all joined hands to attack, we would be able to break it in 2 hours. Now, it seems like it's not enough," Jian Shirtian said. Not long after, a red-robed old man arrived. He held a horsetail whisk in his hand. After understanding the situation, he became extremely excited and entered the Devil Martial Island. "I also want to go in and take a look," Jian Ruyan said in a low voice. Don't go in, it's very dangerous down there, Jian Shitian said sternly. Inside the Devil Marshal Island, Qin Yun controlled the Devil Star Overlord to chase and kill those Devil Beast Kings. The Devil Governing Masters here were all killed by him and Xiao Yuelon. Xiao Yuelon is currently controlling the Devil Star Overlord to attack a very large Devil Beast. Suddenly, a red light shone down. There's someone. This guy is very strong, he's a Martial King, Qin Yun said in astonishment through the Devil Star Overlord. Looking at his attire, could he be a Martial King Realm Devil Governing Master? Xiao Yuelon said because the Devil Governing Master they killed earlier was also dressed in a similar manner. However, he didn't have a horsetail wisp. Yuelon, quickly kill him, Qin Yun said with a smile. Let's see how strong this Devil Star Overlord is. Xiao Yuelon said with a chuckle. This Devil Governing Master actually wants to control the Devil Star Overlord. She controlled the Devil Star Overlord to jump up and punch at the Devil Governing Master. Boom! The fist energy condensed from star power produced a burst of explosive sound. That Devil Governing Master is also very shocked. He never expected that he would not be able to control the Devil Star Overlord. His strength is also not weak. He quickly dodged and dodged the punch. Then I can only defeat you in order to better control you. The Devil Governing Master is very experienced and calmly said. Then, he put away the horsetail whisk and threw out a talisman. Didn't they say that talismans can't be used in here? Qin Yun said in astonishment. Xiao Yun, maybe the barrier has weakened, so only Martial Kings can enter and use talismans. Xiao Yuelon said, Do you have any good weapons? Well, of course I do. Qin Yun chuckled and took out the 9 Sun Divine Hammer. He released the 9 Sun Divine Hammer for the Devil Star Overlord to use. After the Devil Star Overlord grabbed the 9 Sun Divine Hammer, Qin Yun promptly controlled the Divine Hammer to grow bigger. This guy, he's dead for sure, Qin Yun said with a smile. Yuelon, don't worry and hit him. As long as you hit him, he'll definitely die. Alright, Xiao Yuelon said excitedly. Then, she closed her eyes and controlled the Devil Star Overlord to charge towards the Devil Governing Master. The Devil Star Overlord's speed was originally very good. That Martial King is a Devil Governing Master and his combat power is not very high. Furthermore, he underestimated the Devil Star Overlord's strength. Furthermore, the weapon in the Devil Star Overlord's hand is the 9 Sun Divine Hammer. When the Devil Governing Master saw the hammer coming at him, he promptly used the Xian tool in his hand to block. There was a loud bang. The 9 Sun Divine Hammer directly shattered the Xian tool. The Devil Governing Master was also smashed to the ground. The armor on his body exploded and the skin on his chest ruptured. This guy is really weak, Xiao Yuelon said with a charming smile. Go kill him and take out the Dao Core, Qin Yun said. Devil Governing Master, his martial spirit is definitely not bad. After the Devil Star Overlord went over, it pressed its palm on the head and crushed it. At this moment, the group of people from the Divine Inscription Palace above the Devil Marshal Island also saw a life talisman burn. Chapter 672. Overwhelming Righteousness. There weren't many Devil Governing Masters to begin with, and Martial King Realm Devil Governing Masters were even fewer. There was only one in the Divine Inscription Palace. Now that the Devil Governing Master has been killed by the Devil Star Overlord, it means that the Divine Inscription Palace's wishful thinking has been ruined. When the half-immortal of the Divine Inscription Palace heard this news, his body slightly swayed. Now that a Martial King Realm Devil Governing Master has died and he even wasted a few rare realm-breaking king talismans, this is a heavy loss to him. The half-immortals of the other powers are extremely happy in their hearts, but they did not show it. Only Bao Changshu and the others revealed gloating smiles. Truly trying to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice. Bao Changshu said, Your immortal weapon city, don't be complacent. Qin Yun is dead. The half-immortal of the divine inscription palace shouted angrily. This Qin Yun, he has the wildfire inscription spirit. His talent in inscription is so high, but now he's dead. Ha ha! Bao Changshu and the others' faces immediately became pained. Chu Binyu said angrily, "Isn't it all because of you? You bastard, in order to deal with Qin Yun, you summoned some devil star? You caused the death of so many disciples, and even killed those precious devil-governing masters. You truly shot yourself in the foot. No matter what, I have to kill Qin Yun. This guy killed 3 of our immortal disciples. I definitely can't let him live. Even if we suffer heavy losses, as long as Qin Yun dies, it will be considered a profit." The half-immortal of the divine inscription palace said loudly. "One of your 3 immortal disciples was killed by me, Jian Nanhu." Jian Nanhu said, "Could it be that the head I gave you was not an immortal disciple's?" You, the half-immortal of the divine inscription palace, was so angry that he couldn't speak. If not for Jian Shirtian's protection, he would have already torn Jian Nanhu to shreds. Not convinced? You can just send out stronger immortal disciples. I'll kill another one. Why can Qin Yun kill 2 and I can only kill 1? I have to kill 3 immortal disciples to surpass Qin Yun. Jian Nanhu said coldly, "I want to surpass Qin Yun. Jian Shirtian, take care of your grandson." The half-immortal of the divine inscription palace said in a deep voice, "If he acts recklessly, don't blame me for being impolite. It should be you who takes care of your young people. Those few immortal disciples from before were all extremely arrogant. Especially that Lu Lingtian who was killed by Qin Yun. He actually humiliated my Jian family's little girl." Jian Shirtian immediately became furious. "If not for that guy's death, I would never have let you off." At this moment, a middle-aged man said in a low voice, "Elder, the demon governing master we sent in is dead, so should we continue to break the barrier? Of course. Even if that devil star overlord is dead, I will still chop him into pieces." The half-immortal of the divine inscription palace is extremely furious. He can only vent his anger on the devil star overlord. Jian Shirtian arrived beside Bao Changshu and said in low voice, "We should also take action. Maybe Qin Yun is still alive. If we enter earlier, our chances will be higher." Bao Changshu nodded. Soon after, the Sword Immortal Pavilion, Immortal Weapon City, Demon Moon Paradise, Demon Moon Island, as well as Han Fenghu and the grey-robed half-immortal all began to attack the barrier. This made the half-immortal of the divine inscription palace even more furious, because when he asked people to help him break the barrier, no one responded. But now, in order to save Qin Yun, they joined hands to attack. Qin Yun is dead for sure. Don't hold any hope. The half-immortal of the divine inscription palace said coldly. Jian Nanhu also thinks so. Although he doesn't wish for Qin Yun to die, he believes in what he saw. He is very clear about the strength of the Devil Star Overlord. After the Devil Star Overlord killed the demon governing master, it swallowed it and entered its heart. Qin Yun and Xiao Yuelan are inside the heart. They also obtained the Tao Core. The martial spirit inside the Tao Core seems to be very strange. It's white, Xiao Yuelan said. And I wonder what kind of martial spirit it is. Qin Yun promptly used the soul refining technique and extracted the martial spirit inside. After taking it out, it is indeed a pure white martial spirit. Xiao Yun, try fusing with it, Xiao Yuelan said with a smile. If this martial spirit's ability is special, I can also copy it. Alright. Qin Yun promptly fused the pure white martial spirit into his Nether Sun Tao Core. Not long after, the white martial spirit was smoothly devoured by the Nether Sun martial spirit. The Nether Sun martial spirit successfully devoured the white martial spirit, but the Nether Sun martial spirit is still black. Ling Yun is the Nether Sun Tao spirit, so she can immediately sense the ability of the martial spirit that Qin Yun devoured. Could it be the overwhelming righteous martial spirit? Ling Yun said in surprise. What? The name of this martial spirit sounds too strange. Qin Yun is somewhat puzzled and asked, what is the specific ability of this martial spirit? It is able to release the energy of overwhelming righteous energy. It can intimidate the evil spirits. It's a special kind of energy to fight against the evil spirits. For example, the evil spirits are hay and the overwhelming righteous energy is a flame. A little flame can ignite a large area of hay. As for the specifics, it depends on the individual. In short, the power you release through this martial spirit can have a very strong killing power when dealing with the evil spirit. Also, those evil spirits and devils won't be able to possess your body. Ling Yun explained somewhat excitedly. Qin Yun quickly told Xiao Yuelon about this matter. After Xiao Yuelon heard this, she is slightly pleasantly surprised and quickly said, Xiao Yun, release some of that overwhelming righteous Dao power. Let me see if I can copy it. Qin Yun quickly used the Nether Sun martial spirit to sense the overwhelming righteous martial spirit and then forced out a pure white energy. Xiao Yuelon stretched out her lily-white hand and touched it. Then, she held Qin Yun's hand. It's done. Xiao Yuelon also gave it a try and released that pure white energy. Yuelon, you are much more powerful than that little girl Yueme. You can directly copy other people's abilities, Qin Yun said with a smile. Xiao Yun, it's time for us to go out. Xiao Yuelon giggled and touched Qin Yun's face. Qin Yun pulled Xiao Yuelon and the two of them used the mysterious penetration divine ability and left the Devil Star Overlord's body. When he came out, Qin Yun also took the star nucleus. Outside, he can also use the star nucleus to control the Devil Star Overlord. Rumble! Suddenly, a loud rumbling sound came from the sky. The barrier is broken, Xiao Yuelon said. Qin Yun quickly retrieved the 9 Sun Divine Hammer and placed the Devil Star Overlord into the second pearl of the 9 Sun Divine Spirit. Boom boom boom! After the barrier was broken, it set off waves of violent energy clouds. Countless energy clouds collided with each other, producing loud rumbling sounds and lightning flashed repeatedly. Inside the barrier, there are still many disciples. Seeing that the barrier has been destroyed, they quickly soared into the sky. Qin Yun and Xiao Yuelon also followed the group of disciples and quickly flew into the sky. Just as the seniors of the powers in the sky broke the barrier, they sensed that many disciples flew out. That's Qin Yun's aura. Chu Binyu shouted in pleasant surprise. Qin Yun is not dead. Many people saw Qin Yun fly out from the black ink cloud. Jian Nanhu also looked at Qin Yun in disbelief. The people of the Immortal Weapon City all cheered. The half-immortal from the Divine Inscription Palace has an ugly expression, as if he ate shit. He spent a lot of effort to summon the Devil Star and even sent out his immortal disciples to deal with Qin Yun. But now, the immortal disciples of the Divine Inscription Palace have died and a few devil governing masters have also died. However, Qin Yun came out alive and well. In this way, everything that the Divine Inscription Palace did to Qin Yun was futile, and they suffered heavy losses. Qin Yun, you bastard, you actually didn't die. This doesn't make sense. Jian Nanhu rushed over and asked. Didn't you tell me not to die? What did you say that you defeated me? Qin Yun laughed. Jian Nanhu, even an idiot like you didn't die, how can I die? What did you say? I'm an idiot? I'll fuck your grandpa. Jian Nanhu immediately became furious. Alright, since you saved me, I won't bother with you this time. Qin Yun, why didn't you die? The half-immortal of the Divine Inscription Palace shouted angrily from afar. Bao Changshu and the others also arrived beside Qin Yun to protect him. Because I ran fast. Qin Yun chuckled and said, Actually, speaking of which, I still have to thank an old man with a horsetail whisk. I was originally eaten by that Devil Star Overlord, but after that old man with horsetail whisk fought with the Devil Star Overlord, I was inexplicably spat out. Otherwise, I might have died. Qin Yun deliberately said this to anger the half-immortal of the Divine Inscription Palace. You deserve to die. The half-immortal of the Divine Inscription Palace is so angry that he almost vomited blood. If I deserved to die, I would have died a long time ago. Qin Yun chuckled and said, "A slut will be taken care of by the heavens." The reason why Qin Yun was able to survive was actually because the devil governing Master Martial King of the Divine Inscription Palace saved him. This caused many people to laugh loudly in their hearts. The expressions of the people from the Divine Inscription Palace's faction are all as if they ate yellow lotus. The word bitter is written all over their faces. The gray-robed half-immortal said, "This unofficial martial arts tournament can be considered as invalid. We will discuss how to hold it again in the next few days. Please wait patiently for our news." This kind of result is not something we want to see. When Bao Changshu saw that Qin Yun was able to return, he felt a lot more at ease. His face is full of smiles. On one hand, he is very worried about Qin Yun. On the other hand, he is afraid that Bing Xing will blame him. "Let's go back," Bao Changshu shouted. Before Qin Yun left, he looked at the disciples of Demon Moon Island in the distance. One of them is wearing a mask. It is Xiao Yuelon. Xiao Yuelon's eyes flickered with a smile as she bid farewell to him. Yu Bufeng said, "Although I have experienced many dangers, my harvest from this trip is huge. If nothing unexpected happens, I should be able to step into the middle stage of the spirit martial realm through those star Dao cores." That's right. The Divine Inscription Palace can be considered to have done something great. Jian Ruyan laughed loudly. This caused the expression of the half-immortal of the Divine Inscription Palace to become even uglier. Chapter 673. Bing Xing's doubts. On the way back, Qin Yun learned that a battle took place in the sky above the Devil Martial Island. It was even Bao Changshu and Chu Binyu who took action. He is very shocked, because Granny Ma and Bao Changshu, people who don't like to cause trouble, actually killed so many martial kings and martial emperors. Moreover, they are from the Medicine Immortal Valley, Azure Flame Immortal Mountain, and those few families. Jian Ruyan said, "Qin Yun, how did you survive?" "My wife saved me," Qin Yun said. "They are sitting in a very large spaceship." Jian Ruyan also knows that Qin Yun's wife is very strong, so she did not ask much. "Qin Yun, how many star Dao cores have you collected?" Jian Ruyan asked. "Quite a few." Qin Yun smiled. "What about you guys?" "We also got quite a few. If you don't have any, I can give you some. You saved me, I don't want to owe you a favor," Jian Ruyan said. "Don't tell me that the favor you owe me is only worth a few star Dao cores?" Qin Yun said with a laugh. "You bastard." Jian Ruyan doesn't know what to say. At this moment, Granny Ma walked into their small hall and asked, "Qin Yun, is the Devil Star Overlord still inside the Devil Martial Island?" "It should still be." Qin Yun curled his lips and said, "The Devil Star Overlord is very important. He doesn't want others to know that he has it." The guys from the Divine Inscription Palace went to capture the Devil Star Overlord. If they capture it and successfully make it into a puppet, their strength will definitely increase by a lot. Granny Ma said very worriedly, "Let them be." Qin Yun sighed. "Those guys have always wanted to capture me. In the future, they will become even more intense and come to capture me. Qin Yun, you have to be careful in the future. Now there's another Divine Inscription Palace that wants to deal with you." Granny Ma said, "There's nothing I can do about it. Who told me to be so valuable?" Qin Yun said with a bitter smile. "Qin Yun, is your relationship with that Yang Shuriwei really that good?" Jian Ruyan asked with some doubt. "That Yang Shuriwei is really amazing. It is said that she is not even at the spirit martial realm, yet she managed to snatch the Star Lord inscription spirit in the remote Moon Mountain range. She was searched by so many experts for so long, but nothing happened. Big Sister Yang. She treats me very well. Qin Yun did not say much about Yang Shiryu. He was also very worried about her. He also planned that after the martial arts tournament, as long as he obtained the divine ability, he would immediately head to the remote Moon Mountain range to look for Yang Shiryu. He obtained a Devil Star Overlord puppet, and its strength is comparable to Martial King's. The Devil Star Overlord's body is very sturdy. If it were to fight with some stronger Martial Kings, it would be able to resist for a while. You're all tired, rest well. We'll talk about it after we return to the palace. Granny Ma said. The ship has many rooms. Qin Yun and company each went to a comfortable room. Qin Yun is in his room. He is extremely excited. He is not tired at all. Furthermore, he is still reminiscing the feeling of controlling the Devil Star Overlord to kill. Yuner, we've really struck it rich this time, Qin Yun said with a smile. Those fellows from the Divine Inscription Palace originally wanted to use the Devil Star to evolve the devils. Then, a devil governing master would control the devils to capture me, but in the end, hee. Ling Yuner said, they miscalculated. They didn't expect that the summoned Devil Star would have an overlord inside. That overlord controls all the star devil spirits, so those devil governing masters can't directly control those big star devils. What made Qin Yun the happiest is that he stayed with Xiao Yuelon for a period of time. Yuner, are the Star Dao cores I obtained and the Origin Spirit Xian pills I prepared enough for me to step into the middle stage of the Spirit Martial Realm? Qin Yun also wants to break through and see what's inside the third pearl of the Nine Sun Divine Spirit. I'm not too sure about the specifics. Go back and ask Bing Xing. Ling Yuner said. In short, don't absorb the energy of that star nucleus. Qin Yun is also reluctant to absorb the energy of the star nucleus because it is the energy core of the Devil Star Overlord. If he were to absorb it, it would not be easy to replenish it in the future. The Devil Star Overlord is very strong. In an emergency, it can become a life-saving talisman. Of course, he doesn't dare to use it casually. Otherwise, he would definitely be suppressed by many sanctimonious and righteous sections. Even if he used it, he wouldn't let others know that it was his. A day passed and Qin Yun returned to the Immortal Weapon Palace Hall. The moment Qin Yun returned, he immediately rushed to the Immortal Weapon Palace Hall. Bing Xing is sitting beside the Immortal Pool with her back facing the door. She felt the door open and her delicate body slightly trembled. Because Qin Yun has been gone for the past few days, she felt somewhat uncomfortable. In the past, Qin Yun would come here from time to time. Although Qin Yun always spoke a lot of nonsense in the Immortal Weapon Palace Hall, it made Bing Xing not feel so lonely. The martial arts tournament ended so quickly? Bing Xing asked. A lot of big things happened, I almost died. Qin Yun returned and immediately ran to Bing Xing's side. His saliva flew everywhere as he talked about the matters of the Devil Martial Island. Bing Xing is also secretly astonished when she heard this. You said you subdued the Devil Star Overlord? Take it out and let me see. Bing Xing said. He did not hide the matter of the Devil Star Overlord from Bing Xing and immediately released it for her to see. Bing Xing knows about his past life, and she is able to coexist peacefully with him here. Therefore, Qin Yun trusts her more. Of course, he left out many things that he did not say. Devil Star Overlord. This kind of guy dares to call himself an overlord? Truly overestimating himself. Bing Xing looked at the three-headed and six-armed Devil Star Overlord and said disdainfully, This guy was killed by me. He is indeed not an overlord. Although Qin Yun said this, he is still somewhat excited when he looked at the Devil Star Overlord. Bing Xing said again, What about the star nucleus you obtained? Take it out and let me see. Sister Bing Xing, that is very precious to me. Don't act recklessly. I want to bring the Devil Star Overlord to the remote Moon Mountain Range to save Sister Yang. Qin Yun said worriedly. Sister Yang is in great danger in the remote Moon Mountain Range. She is being chased by many martial emperors and martial kings. Don't worry, she is the young palace master of the Guanghan Palace. Even if you die, she won't die. Bing Xing extended her hand and indicated for Qin Yun to take out the star nucleus. Qin Yun reluctantly took out the star nucleus. After Bing Xing took it, she lightly snorted and the star nucleus suddenly emitted a white light. Sister Bing Xing, you don't act recklessly. Qin Yun immediately turned pale with fright. He jumped and shouted. Bing Xing saw him jumping up and down anxiously and said with a sneer, "Take this!" Qin Yun promptly sensed the Devil Star Overlord behind him and suddenly slapped down with its palm. Furthermore, it also released an extremely cold energy. Hoo hoo hoo! When the palm pressed down, an ice-cold wind burst out and enveloped Qin Yun's body. Qin Yun has the Heavenly Lion bloodline and cultivated the Heavenly Lion Xian body. Originally, he was not afraid of ice and fire. But now, he felt his body stiffen. Bing Xing saw that it is about time and quickly controlled the Devil Star Overlord to retract its palm. She walked over and placed her hand on the back of Qin Yun's neck and sucked out the ice-cold power from his body. After Qin Yun recovered, he gasped for breath and looked at Bing Xing in astonishment. Sister Bing Xing, is this the power of the Devil Star Overlord? Why didn't I discover that he had such a terrifying ice-cold power? That ice-cold power is mine, Bing Xing said. Yours? Your power can be transmitted to the Devil Star Overlord through the star nucleus? Qin Yun found it hard to believe. I'll return it to you. Bing Xing returned the star nucleus to Qin Yun. After Qin Yun received it, he felt the star nucleus turn ice-cold. In the future, you can also release that kind of ice-cold power through the star nucleus. It's just that it won't be as strong as when I use it, Bing Xing said. Also, if you find that Sister Yang, bring her here to see me. Qin Yun is pleasantly surprised. He never expected that Bing Xing would be able to improve and upgrade the Devil Star Overlord. Got it. Qin Yun quickly nodded and asked, Sister Bing Xing, how did you do it? Can you teach me? I want the Devil Star Overlord to be able to use even more power. With your current cultivation, you're still unable to do it. If there's a chance in the future, I'll teach you again, Bing Xing said. Alright. Qin Yun kept the Devil Star Overlord and the star nucleus and took out many star Dao cores. He asked, Sister Bing Xing, I want to transform my mind into moon and then add my 100+ origin spirit Xian pills. Is that enough? It's not enough. Bing Xing glanced at the large pile of star Dao cores and said coldly. Qin Yun has several thousand star Dao cores, which is equivalent to nearly 200 origin spirit Xian pills. Sigh. Qin Yun sighed somewhat vexedly. This is still not enough. Transforming your mind into moon has a great risk. The most important thing is that you have to know how to resist the evil Yin power. After your mind transforms into moon, it will allow you to easily sense the evil Yin power and then absorb it along with the heaven and earth spiritual energy. Before you master the power to resist the evil Yin power, I won't allow you to step into the middle stage of the spirit martial realm. If you master it, come find me. I can help you, Bing Xing said. Of course, I can't guarantee whether or not I can break through. Qin Yun cannot expose the 9 Sun Divine Spirit. He feels that with the 9 Sun Divine Spirit, he will definitely be able to resist the evil Yin power. Suddenly, he thought of the overwhelming righteous martial spirit he fused with before. He promptly released a pure white energy ball in his palm and asked, Sister Bing Xing, can you see if this energy of mine can resist the evil Yin power? This is the power of overwhelming righteous energy. Bing Xing immediately widened her beautiful eyes and looked at Qin Yun in incomparable shock. This is impossible. Bing Xing shook her head repeatedly and said in disbelief, "It's impossible for a guy like you to master this kind of pure energy." "Why, I'm not bad," Qin Yun said unhappily, puffed up his face and snorted. "You don't know, even people with the overwhelming righteous martial spirit can only use the Tao power released by the martial spirit to intimidate the evil spirit. However, they are unable to condense it. This requires a person to have sufficient moral cultivation. And you, in your previous life, you were a scoundrel. This will also affect your future life. You will need to accumulate enough merit in your future life to offset the evil you did in your previous life. Even if you are a good person in this life, you are only in your 20s, and in your previous life, you have done evil for tens of thousands of years. It is not something that you can make up for in 20 years. The reason why Bing Xing is unable to accept this matter is also because she does not dare to believe that Qin Yun was not a great evil person in his previous life. Because she hated Qin Yun's previous life. Qin Yun suddenly recalled that Xiao Yuelan once said that he was a good person in his previous life. Chapter 674. Fantasy Fusion Training. Qin Yun looked at Bing Xing's conflicted eyes and asked softly, "Sister Bing Xing, can you help me cultivate my mental power now?" Bing Xing had just promised Qin Yun that as long as he could suppress the evil Yin power, she would do her best to help him transform his mind into moon. Originally, he thought that he would have to wait for several years before he could master the power to suppress Yin evil. But now, he can already use overwhelming righteous power. If Qin Yun could use other powers to suppress the evil, Bing Xing might feel better. However, Qin Yun managed to cultivate the righteous aura that was extremely difficult to condense, because in this way, it could indirectly prove that Qin Yun's previous life was not that bad. Bing Xing has been recalling her past life with Qin Yun. She frowned. She is very certain that Qin Yun is a big baddie. Furthermore, he is very famous in the Immortal Desolate. "Sister Bing Xing, when I was in Devil Marshall Island, I met my wife. She also had a past life. She said that I am not a bad person but a good person. That's why she married me," said Qin Yun. "Your wife?" Bing Xing could not accept the fact that Qin Yun was a good person in his previous life. "Her name is Xiao Yuelan, she is Yume's big sister. The two of them look a bit similar. Maybe they were sisters in their previous life. I don't think I asked them about this matter." Qin Yun said. "That's impossible. How could she be your wife in this life?" Bing Xing immediately shouted loudly, her eyes are filled with disbelief. She now knows who Qin Yun's wife is. Qin Yun said, "Sister Bing Xing, you should have been sealed in that immortal tomb a long time ago. And for the next 10 to 20,000 years, my previous life was still alive. I'm only in my 20s now, which means that I've only been dead for 20 years. I guess that elder sister Yuelan and Yume died around the same time as me. By the way, sister Yang died a little earlier than me, so she reincarnated a few years earlier, so she's older than me." When Bing Xing heard Qin Yun's words, she fell into deep thought. She said with a frown, "After I was sealed, did you turn over a new leaf and become a good person? This was impossible. You're very bad." Qin Yun thought about it and felt that he might have turned over a new leaf. After Bing Xing was sealed, he had been a good person for tens of thousands of years. "I don't have the memories of my previous life. I don't know what's going on either. Furthermore, I don't dare to awaken the memories of my previous life." Qin Yun said with a troubled expression, "Sister Bing Xing, let's not dwell on the matters of my previous life." Bing Xing took a few deep breaths and gradually calmed down. "Do you know what relationship you had with Xiao Yuelan's past life?" Qin Yun originally did not want to dwell on the matters of his previous life, but when he heard Bing Xing's question, he suddenly became curious. He said, "What's the relationship? We should be quite in love with each other, so we can continue our fate." Bing Xing said coldly, "I really don't know what happened after I was sealed. But before I was sealed, you were the twin sisters' enemy. They've been hunting you for thousands of years." "Really?" Qin Yun immediately widened his eyes. "What did I do to them? They actually chased me for so long?" "As far as I know, you played with their feelings and even swindled them of many precious treasures. Also, their master was sealed by you and his whereabouts are unknown. Their master in their previous life was also a famous immortal king." When Bing Xing saw Qin Yun's face filled with guilt, she said again, "After their master was sealed by you, many of their master's treasures appeared on your body. Oh right, their master is also a woman. She's a famous female immortal king in the immortal desolate." Qin Yun did not know what to say. He curled his lips and said with a smile, "That's all in my previous life. Sister Bing Xing, when will you start guiding me in cultivation? I need to quickly transform my mind into moon." "Isn't the martial arts tournament limited to the initial stage spirit martial realm?" Bing Xing did not continue talking about Qin Yun's previous life. She also saw that after Qin Yun heard about those things, his eyes are filled with sadness and guilt. She now truly believes that Qin Yun's current life is different from his previous life. He is indeed a good person, although a bit cunning. However, Qin Yun feels very sad in his heart because he feels that his previous life was too much of a bastard. He has let down Xiao Yuelon and Xiao Yueme. "Xiao Yun, don't be sad. There must be a reason why Yuelon loves you so much in this life. Furthermore, Yueme and Big Sister Yang are also very good to you." Ling Yuner said, "Bing Xing has been sealed for a very long time. She definitely doesn't know what happened later on, so there must be a misunderstanding." Qin Yun recalled the sweet time he spent with Xiao Yuelon on Devil Marshall Island. The sadness in his heart has also been swept away. "I don't care about the martial arts tournament anymore. I need to quickly step into the middle stage spirit martial realm, and then go to the remote Moon Mountain range to save Big Sister Yang." Qin Yun said, "You don't have to worry about her. Didn't you say that she has the Black Moon martial spirit? Even if I go in, I won't be able to find her. You have to know what kind of place the remote Moon Mountain range is. It is the territory of the Guanghan Palace in the Spirit Desolate." Bing Xing said, Is this true?" Qin Yun asked in surprise. The Nether Moon Palace, Fire Moon City and Demon Moon Island were all built by the people of the Guanghan Palace. Of course, I'm not too sure about the current situation of the three moon sections. In short, many of the cultivation techniques of the three moon sects came from the Guanghan Palace. Bing Xing said, "My Sun and Moon Heart Sutra was also taught to me by your big sister Yang." Qin Yun suddenly recalled that Demon Moon Island had taken special care of him. It was most likely because of Yang Shiyu. Yang Shiyu had previously agreed to join the Nether Moon Palace, but that was before she awakened her memories. After she awakened her memories, she came to the Spirit Desolate and learned about the three moon sections. Qin Yun thought about it carefully, and felt that Demon Moon Island was still loyal to the Guanghan Palace. That was why Yang Shiyu had asked Demon Moon Island to take special care of him. Sister Bing Xing, Big Sister Yang, Yuelon and Yueme, what were their names in their previous lives? Qin Yun asked curiously. "I don't want to tell you. I'm worried that you'll trigger the memories of your previous life." Bing Xing seemed to have mentioned their names before for this reason. Qin Yun felt a little more at ease. At the very least, Yang Shiyu would not be found that easily. However, she is definitely trapped in the remote Moon Mountain range. Since you're in a hurry to transform your mind into a moon, then let's begin now. Even with my help, you might not succeed. With your situation, this process will be rather difficult. Go back to your residence and set up a secret room. Then, arrange the star Tao cores in the form of a formation and activate the star power inside. Then, eat all of your origin spirit Xian pills and enter the fantasy field to find me in the forbidden area. After Bing Xing finished speaking, she jumped into the immortal pool. She also wanted to enter the fantasy field. Qin Yun suddenly felt excited as he hurriedly ran back. After Qin Yun returned to his room, he created a quiet secret room. Then, he followed Bing Xing's instructions and quickly set it up. The secret room is extremely sealed and the aura could not flow out. A large number of star Tao cores were piled up by him and released a very dense amount of star power through the formation. Qin Yun ate the 100+ origin spirit Xian pills and laid on the bed. He entered the fantasy field and came to the safe city. He quickly rushed to the forbidden area. This time, he had obtained permission, so he was not afraid of being punished for entering the forbidden area. Qin Yun, who was running with all his might, passed through the world of ice and snow in half a day and arrived beside the immortal pool in the cave. When he arrived, he saw Bing Xing sitting beside the immortal pool. Bing Xing is wearing a beautiful snow-white dress. Her expression is cold and beautiful. She is sitting cross-legged beside the immortal pool. She exudes a dignified and holy aura, giving off the feeling of a fairy. "Come here, sit down," Bing Xing said coldly. Qin Yun also sensed that the atmosphere is not right. At this moment, Bing Xing seems to have eaten gunpowder. Her ice-cold voice seems to be filled with anger. Qin Yun did not dare to say anything else. He obediently walked over and sat opposite of Bing Xing. The two of them are very close to each other. He looked at Bing Xing's beautiful immortal face and could not help but secretly praise her in his heart. "Are you thinking of something filthy in your heart?" Bing Xing's cold voice caused Qin Yun to shiver. "No, absolutely not." Qin Yun did not think of anything earlier. He was only admiring Bing Xing's appearance. Humph! Bing Xing slightly frowned as she recalled something that made her extremely angry. Last time, she took off her clothes here and was seen by Qin Yun. This matter made her brood over it. Especially in this place, it is the easiest to recall her memories. Qin Yun suddenly understood why Bing Xing is so angry. He immediately said righteously and sternly, "Sister Bing Xing, last time. I'm really sorry about last time. I really didn't have any other thoughts. You should remember that the moment I saw you, I immediately killed you. I didn't have any other dirty thoughts. If I were really a wretched person, I would definitely hide and watch to my heart's content." Bing Xing coldly shouted, "Shut up, don't mention this matter again." Within Qin Yun's illusory space, Ling Yun'er said with a charming smile, "Xiao Yun, she must have despised you for not looking at her more, so she felt a little angry. She was such a great beauty, and not only did you not look at her more, you even cruelly killed her. If it were me, I would also be very angry." Qin Yun secretly cursed Ling Yun'er for always saying such nonsense. "Sister Bing Xing, can we begin?" Qin Yun asked. Bing Xing said with a solemn expression, "Qin Yun, I want to use the Sun and Moon Heart Sutra to cultivate with you. Only this method can allow you to quickly absorb the immortal energy in the fantasy field. Furthermore, I can also guide you to use the immortal bed in the fantasy field to buy more time to cultivate your mind." When Qin Yun heard this, he immediately became extremely excited. Bing Xing said sternly, "However, this is a very big problem, because I can't be sure if I really trust you or not. I need to try to know. This will be very risky. If something goes wrong, it will cause your mind to be damaged and nothing will happen to me. Are you willing to try? This is the fastest way to transform your mind into moon. Otherwise, you can only use other methods." Chapter 675. Star Spirit Immortal Qin Yun also knows that if there is a mistake in cultivating the Sun and Moon Heart Sutra, the one with the lower cultivation would suffer the most serious injuries. And with Bing Xing's cultivation, even if she makes a mistake, it would not be a big deal. Now, Qin Yun is filled with apprehension as he extended his palms. Bing Xing grabbed his palms and clasped her fingers tightly with his. Qin Yun has always felt that it is strange. Bing Xing clearly mainly uses ice-cold power, but her hands are always warm. They feel very comfortable and soft to the touch, completely inconsistent with her ice-cold appearance. Qin Yun, close your eyes and don't think about anything. I am cultivating with you here. It is completely different from the cultivation you experienced before. Bing Xing's calm and ethereal voice sounded. I am currently cultivating mind with you, you must cooperate with me. Qin Yun is very worried that he will fail because Bing Xing has always been biased against him and even hates him a little. Cultivating the Sun and Moon Heart Sutra. However, it requires both parties to trust each other. Fortunately, he felt the warmth of Bing Xing's hands and felt very at ease. Gradually, Qin Yun allowed himself to enter a state where he did not think about anything. Soon, he fell asleep. When he woke up, he discovered that he is in a space surrounded by all kinds of ice. This place is very spacious, much larger than the Immortal Weapon Palace Hall. Where is this? Qin Yun said in surprise after opening his eyes. This is my illusory space. Bing Xing vigorously grabbed his hands and lightly shouted, Calm down, we have successfully entered the joint cultivation state. Really? That's great. Qin Yun said with a very happy smile. Sister Bing Xing, it seems like you still trust me in your heart. Don't be complacent, I only sincerely want to help you break through and let you save Yang Shiyu. Bing Xing snorted and said, Now, let me help you control that star power and strengthen your spirit star crystal. Qin Yun does not know why, but Bing Xing is actually able to successfully cultivate with him. He is very happy in his heart. At least Bing Xing trusts him very much. This kind of mutual trust is extremely rare. Qin Yun also calmed down and did not ask any questions. He cooperated with Bing Xing and let her circulate the star power. Ling Yuner said, Xiao Yun, you are in a dream within a dream. The Immortal Weapon Fantasy Field is an illusory dream realm. In this way, you can enter Bing Xing's dream realm from the fantasy field. This is a very magical state that allows you to have a deeper contact with your own spirit. It sounds complicated. I don't understand either. In short, it's not a bad thing, right? Asked Qin Yun. Of course it isn't a bad thing. Ling Yuner said with a charming smile. Xiao Yun, maybe Sister Bing Xing has special feelings for you, that's why she trusts you so much. You can try and see if you can win her heart. Don't talk nonsense. It's because I obtained the trust of Yuelan and Sister Yang. Sister Bing Xing also trusts me. I definitely don't have that kind of feeling. Qin Yun said. Let's wait and see. Ling Yun laughed. Qin Yun does not believe that Bing Xing has feelings for him, because he feels very guilty towards Bing Xing. After all, his previous life caused her to be sealed for so long. Although Qin Yun is in the Immortal Weapon Fantasy field and has used a special method to enter the Ice Star's illusory space, he can absorb a large amount of star power. Those Star Dao cores and Origin Spirit Xian pills are constantly pouring out a large amount of special mental power into Qin Yun's star crystal. Qin Yun, because I'm in the Sun and Moon immortal bed and you've entered my illusory space, it's equivalent to you being in the Sun and Moon spacetime realm. This can buy you more time to cultivate, Bing Xing said. Truly magical, Qin Yun exclaimed with a smile. At this moment, he can also sense that Bing Xing can smoothly guide his mental power. What surprised him is that there is actually a third type of energy that is pouring into the star crystal. In addition to the energy of the Star Dao cores and Origin Spirit Xian pills, there is also a special and powerful mental power. It is similar to star power, but it is much stronger than star power. Just as Qin Yun is feeling baffled, Ling Yuner shouted in alarm. Xiao Yun, this Sister Bing Xing is not human. Yuner, what did you say? Although Sister Bing Xing and I had enmity in our previous life, she is still very good to me now. Qin Yun said. What I mean is, she's not human. Ling Yun seemed to have suddenly discovered something. She became extremely excited. Don't tell me that you don't know the uniqueness of that third energy? It's very strange. It should be the power of the stars. Sister Bing Xing should also be able to transform her mind into a star or a moon, right? It's not strange that her mental power has this characteristic. Qin Yun said. No. If it was the mind transforming into a star or a moon, it wouldn't be like this at all. Her mental power carried a very dense power of the stars. Do you know what this means? Ling Yun said. Also, the star nucleus you obtained before was immediately transformed by her. It can now release ice-cold power. Qin Yun thought for a moment and felt that it is somewhat strange. He hurriedly asked, What does this mean? This Sister Bing Xing is a star spirit. Ling Yun shouted in pleasant surprise. She and I are about the same type. We can be considered the same type. Qin Yun is somewhat dumbfounded when he heard this. He asked, But Yun you can't leave my illusory space. Because I am the Tao spirit of the Nether Sun martial spirit and Sister Bing Xing is the star spirit of a star. She should have cultivated a human's mind. Ling Yun said, The star that gave birth to her should be an ice star. Qin Yun carefully thought about it and immediately felt astonished. Moreover, that ice star should not be simple. It's still in the sky. Ling Yun said, The reason why she looked down on the Devil Star Overlord so much before is also because she herself is a very strong star spirit. In that case, she should be very strong, right? Qin Yun asked. So she should be very strong, but star spirits are very rare existences. Especially this kind of powerful star spirit, they are the target of many experts. She said that her strength has weakened. In other words, her star has been destroyed or sealed. Ling Yun said. Qin Yun has a bad premonition. He felt that it might have been done by his previous life. Can I find her star in the spirit desolate? Qin Yun asked. What nonsense are you talking about? She came from the immortal desolate. Her star should be in the immortal desolate. Ling Yun said. Wait until you go to the immortal desolate, then you can find out. Qin Yun can't help but feel curious as he looked at the beautiful immortal Bing Xing. Bing Xing is also looking at him. Her eyes are somewhat ice-cold. Sister Bing Xing, are you a star spirit? Qin Yun suddenly asked. You? How did you know? Bing Xing's body trembled. She is extremely shocked. Even your previous life didn't know about this. Qin Yun immediately felt a lot more at ease. At least his previous life did not harm Bing Xing's star. I guessed it, Qin Yun said. Your star power is a bit similar to that Devil Star Overlord's star core power. Even though that guy is a star devil spirit. How much do you know about star spirits? Bing Xing quickly asked. Well, I won't hide it from you. I have mastered quite a few star and moon inscription runes. It's mainly from a sect of mine called Inscription Gate. Qin Yun said. I also learned a few things about star spirits back then. Sister Bing Xing, shouldn't you have a star in the sky? That star has disappeared. Otherwise, I would be even stronger now. Bing Xing said. Why did it disappear? Qin Yun quickly asked. I don't know. In short, after that star was discovered, it was targeted by many people. Because the star is too big, I don't know where to hide it. Even if I hid it, it would be discovered. When I was sealed, I lost contact with it. However, I know that my star is still in the immortal desolate's star river. When Bing Xing spoke of this matter, her eyes are filled with sorrow. Was it hidden by someone? Qin Yun looked at Bing Xing's sad expression and felt very sad in his heart. The person who can hide my star must be very strong. Moreover, he can also find me through that star and even control me. Therefore, I need the 9 revolutions immortal power. Only by becoming stronger can I break free from control and take back my star," Bing Xing said indignantly. Qin Yun sighed softly and said, "If only I had strong strength, I would be able to go to the immortal desolate and help you. You should cultivate properly. In the future, when you go to the immortal desolate, you will encounter even more trouble than me." Bing Xing lightly snorted. In the following days, Bing Xing helped Qin Yun very attentively and guided him to cultivate his mind. Very quickly, a year passed in Bing Xing's illusory space. Bing Xing frowned. "You've encountered a bottleneck. I don't know the reason either." She released Qin Yun's hand and said, "You should properly calm your heart and feel what's going on." Qin Yun closed his eyes and entered a state of slumber. He looked at the sparkling purple star. That is his spirit star crystal. It has become very big, but it is still not a moon. "Xiao Yun, your situation is rather special. You might need someone with moon martial spirit to guide you into moon transformation," Ling Yun said. "My current mental power has also increased by a lot, but I still can't open the third pearl of the Nine Sun Divine Spirit." Qin Yun is somewhat disappointed. He can only wait and see. He is still in Bing Xing's illusory space. Unknowingly, he slept for a few days. These few days, he was immersed in his spirit star crystal. Bing Xing is also looking at Qin Yun. In order to prevent any accidents from happening to him during cultivation, she looked at Qin Yun's handsome face and could not help but slowly extend her hand and gently caress it. Although it is in an illusory space, the feeling is very real. Even Qin Yun can feel Bing Xing's gentle lily-white hand caressing his face. "Xiao Yun, she's in heat, hee. Ling Yun suddenly laughed. "Don't talk nonsense. Qin Yun doesn't think so." He quickly opened his eyes and saw Bing Xing's lily-white hand placed on his face. Bing Xing also hurriedly retracted her hand and turned around, her back facing Qin Yun. "Sister Bing Xing, what were you doing just now?" Qin Yun can't guess what Bing Xing is thinking. Chapter 676. The turning moon opportunity. Qin Yun did not think too much about it and said, "I don't know what the problem is either. Maybe I need to gain enlightenment in other aspects before I can transform my mind into a moon. Maybe. If you find Yang Shuriwe, she might be able to help you," Bing Xing said. "Your mental cultivation has also reached a bottleneck. I can't help you with anything else. Let's end this joint cultivation." With that, Qin Yun's eyes flashed and he returned to the side of the immortal pool in the fantasy field. Bing Xing is not here, she has left the fantasy field. Qin Yun hurriedly left the fantasy field and woke up in his room. "It's incredible. I entered a person's dream from the fantasy field. What a strange feeling." When Qin Yun reflected on it, he found it extremely fascinating. From the bottom of Bing Xing's heart, she still trusts you. Furthermore, her feelings for you are quite deep. Ling Yun laughed tenderly. "Do you have any thoughts of taking her down? She's a real fairy." "Stop talking nonsense." Qin Yun had only been lying down for a day. However, inside the immortal weapon fantasy field spirit, Bing Xing guided him into the Sun-Moon Immortal Bed's Sun-Moon space-time realm. Therefore, his consciousness had also spent a year there. If Sister Bing Xing and I were to lie on that Sun and Moon Immortal Bed, we would have 2 years of time. After Qin Yun got off the bed, he immediately took a bath and changed into a set of blue clothes before heading to the Immortal Weapon Palace Hall. He hastily arrived at the Immortal Weapon Palace Hall and saw Bing Xing sitting beside the immortal pool, absorbing immortal energy to cultivate. Qin Yun walked over and said with a smile, "Sister Bing Xing, do you need 9 revolutions immortal power pills now?" "No need, I can cultivate with you. This should be faster," Bing Xing said. "We will cultivate together on the Sun and Moon Immortal Bed. We won't use the Sun and Moon Immortal Bed to enter the Sun and Moon spacetime realm. We can only absorb more immortal energy through the Immortal Bed." Alright. Qin Yun immediately became excited. Then, he followed Bing Xing into the immortal pool and entered the immortal origin. They sat on the sun-moon immortal bed. I'll begin. Bing Xing stretched out her hand. Qin Yun had always wanted to cultivate together with Bing Xing and absorb the 9 revolutions' immortal power to temper his body. Now, he finally got his wish. Bing Xing circulated the Sun and Moon Heart Sutra and entered a joint cultivation state with Qin Yun. This is the first time Qin Yun absorbed energy from the immortal origin. He did not expect the absorption speed to be so fast. Sister Bing Xing guided the immortal energy over. The two of you cultivating together is indeed very fast. Ling Yuner said, Xiao Yun, you have to seize this opportunity. Once she cultivates with you for a period of time, she will no longer resist you. At that time, hey you deadhead! Qin Yun cursed in a low voice. He did not know what was wrong with his Dao spirit. She was clearly a delicate little fairy, but she always had very dirty thoughts. After Qin Yun sensed a large amount of immortal energy enter his body, he used the 9 Sun Divine Spirit to quickly transform the immortal energy into 9 revolutions immortal power. Then, it flowed into Bing Xing's body and continuously circulated within their bodies. After every cycle, the 9 revolutions' immortal power would strengthen and its quality would constantly increase. Especially after circulating in Bing Xing's body, it would always bring out a very strong immortal power to temper Qin Yun's body. When the two of them cultivated together in the real world, there was a feeling of being closely connected. They could feel each other's heartbeat, which was a very wonderful feeling. After Qin Yun and Bing Xing cultivated for a few days, they felt that they have improved a lot. If this goes on, you should be able to cultivate a mortal body even faster. Bing Xing can also feel the benefits of the 9 revolutions' immortal power to her. Therefore, this is something that both of them can benefit from. I'm going out to participate in the martial arts tournament, Qin Yun said with a very happy smile. Bing Xing brought Qin Yun out of the immortal origin and arrived above. Sister Bing Xing, I will definitely become stronger quickly and then go to the immortal desolate to help you find that star, Qin Yun said with a resolute expression. No need, just take care of yourself, Bing Xing said coldly. Qin Yun did not say anything else. He turned around and walked towards the door. Bing Xing looked at Qin Yun's back. Her eyes are filled with complex emotions. Then, she sighed softly. After Qin Yun left the Immortal Weapon Palace Hall, he quickly arrived at a large hall in the Lawkeeper Hall. There are many disciples of the Lawkeeper Hall here. All of them are at the late-stage spirit martial realm. After he arrived, he saw Jian Rian, Yu Bufeng and Long Qiaofeng. You all broke through? Qin Yun looked at Jian Rian and the other two in astonishment. You actually didn't break through. Jian Rian's face is also filled with shock. Don't you have Origin Spirit Xian pills and many Star Dao cores? Granny Ma and Bao Changsho are also here. They sensed that Qin Yun is still at the initial stage spirit martial realm and felt that it is somewhat strange. If one were to step into the middle stage spirit martial realm and cultivate an origin spirit, their aura would also have a faint trace of origin spirit energy. My mental power cultivation is rather special. Qin Yun sighed and said, That's why I'm still the same. You all advised me not to transform my mind into moon, but it's also very difficult for me to break through now. Bao Changsho said, Qin Yun, think about it again. Cripple your mental power cultivation and start from the beginning. With the help of the Grand Elder, you will definitely be able to cultivate mental power again. I won't do it. Qin Yun has now reached a bottleneck. He only lacks an opportunity or guidance to successfully transform his mind into moon. Qin Yun, are you really confident that you can resist the invasion of the evil Yin power? Jian Ruyan said worriedly. Of course I'm confident, Qin Yun said with a smile. "Oh right, what's the situation with the martial arts tournament?" Granny Ma said. "The rules have been changed. They said that many disciples at the initial stage spirit martial realm have died, so they are allowing disciples at the mid and late stage spirit martial realm to participate." "Then wouldn't I be at a disadvantage?" Qin Yun said with a frown. "He is only at the initial stage spirit martial realm." "Qin Yun, don't worry. I will definitely defeat Brother Hu and take first place." Jian Ruyan patted Qin Yun's shoulder. "With your current situation, I'm afraid you won't be able to represent our immortal weapon city in the competition." Qin Yun looked at the group of disciples at the mid and late stage spirit martial realm and curled his lips. "What kind of joke is this? Although I am at the initial stage spirit martial realm, I have at least killed an immortal disciple at the late stage spirit martial realm. How can I not be able to represent the immortal weapon city in the competition? But those immortal disciples aren't very strong. Back then, I was defeated by an immortal disciple because I wasn't on guard. Otherwise, I would have been able to defeat an immortal disciple." Jian Ruyan snorted lightly. Granny Ma said, "Qin Yun, you don't have to worry. As long as you pass our test, you can also participate in the competition." The disciples of the Lawkeeper Hall, who are at the mid and late stage spirit martial realm, all have arrogant expressions on their faces. They feel that even Jian Ruyan cannot compare to them. "There are only 4 spots," Granny Ma said. "The test method is very simple. It is a comprehensive test for all of you. Qin Yun is very confident in this test. The first test is the Tao Power Test. Test the strength of your Tao power." Granny Ma took out a pearl that looked soft. "If you pinch this pearl hard, it will release a total of 4 kinds of light: blue light, silver light, golden light, and purple light. If you can emit golden light, you will be able to pass the first test," Granny Ma said. "There are a total of 50 disciples taking the test in this hall. They are all outstanding middle and late stage spirit martial realm, and they are also disciples of the Lawkeeper Hall." They lined up one after another to pinch the pearl. Qin Yun discovered that many middle stage spirit martial realm disciples can only make the pearl emit silver light even if they use all their strength. Late stage spirit martial realm disciples have to expend a great deal of effort to make the pearl emit golden light. More than 30 middle stage spirit martial realm disciples have all been eliminated. Finally, it was Jian Ruyan's turn. After she held the pearl, she let out a light shout and released her strongest primordial Tao power into her fist. Then, she vigorously pinched the pearl. The pearl quickly turned into a silver light and then slowly turned into a golden light. The brightness of the golden light is actually not weaker than late stage spirit martial realm. "Jian Ruyan has passed the first test," Granny Ma said with great satisfaction. Jian Ruyan's face is also filled with arrogance as she smiled at Qin Yun proudly. Those middle-stage spirit martial realm disciples who were eliminated all felt ashamed because Jian Ruyan just broke through and her Tao power is not weaker than theirs. Following them are Long Qiaofeng and Yu Bufeng. Although they just broke through, they can also make the pearl turn golden. However, the brightness is not as bright as Jian Ruyan's. "It's my turn." Qin Yun rolled up his sleeves and said with a chuckle, "It shouldn't be that difficult, right?" "Qin Yun, be serious. This is very difficult. Just now I almost broke my bones." Jian Ruyan lightly snorted and said, "This isn't easy at all." Yu Bufeng's face is still somewhat pale. Just now, he used all the power in his body and instantly burst out to make the pearl emit golden light. Qin Yun curled his lips and said, "At the very least, I've killed an immortal disciple before, okay? I might be able to crush this pearl." Jian Ruyan's face is filled with disbelief. "You are only at the initial stage spirit martial realm. No matter how strong you are, you can't be that strong. The brightness of the golden light might only be the same as mine. If I can pinch this pearl until it turns purple, you can call me Brother Yun from now on and you're not allowed to be mean to me." Qin Yun said with a smile. If you can really do it, then so be it. Jian Rian does not think much of it. She does not believe that Qin Yun can pinch the pearl until it turns purple. Qin Yun took the pearl and let out a muffled groan. Then, he released the power within the bone spirit and condensed the 9 extinction primordial power. His body immediately overflowed with a burst of aura, causing the main hall to emit whistling sounds. The bead immediately turned golden, and then gradually turned purple, shining with purple light. Everyone's hair was blown into a mess as they looked at the purple pearl in astonishment. Qin Yun's Dao power is actually stronger than late-stage spirit martial realm. Those late-stage spirit martial realm disciples felt that they have cultivated to the point of being dogs. Qin Yun, enough! Granny Ma hurriedly shouted. That pearl is very expensive, it's not easy to refine. Qin Yun also hurriedly stopped. Fortunately it didn't break. Granny Ma hurriedly went over and checked the pearl. Qin Yun wiped his nose and looked at Jian Rian with a smile. Little sister Yen, how strong is your brother Yun? You freak. Jian Rian also suffered a heavy blow. She thought that after breaking through to the middle stage spirit martial realm, she would be able to hang Qin Yun and beat him up. Chapter 677. Dragon Ball. Jian Rian glanced sideways at Qin Yun, gritted her teeth and shouted, Consider yourself powerful, but you are not as strong as brother Hu. He must have broken through to the middle stage of the spirit martial realm. Jian Nan Hu is a bit difficult to deal with, Qin Yun said with an indifferent smile. This guy, I defeated him twice and saved him once. He can't beat me. If brother Hu defeats you, I won't have to call you brother Yun anymore. What do you think? Jian Rian is older than Qin Yun. She felt very awkward calling a wimpy brat brother. Qin Yun chuckled and said, Sure. Granny Ma said, The second round of the test will test mental power. Later, the sect leader will release his mental power to attack you. If you can't take it, you will faint. The sect master's mental strength is very strong. It's not a problem for him to knock you out. Among you, the last 4 to fall will represent our immortal weapon city in the martial arts tournament. Qin Yun was very confident in his mental strength. When he heard the contents of the test, he felt relieved. Bao Changsho said, It begins now. As soon as his voice fell, a mist enveloped Qin Yun and the other 20-plus people. Bang bang bang. In just a short while, a few people fell down. They were all at the late stage of the spirit martial realm. Qin Yun's mental power is extremely strong, but he never expected that his head would become muddled. He hurriedly used his star crystal to release a powerful mental power to resist. Following that, a few more people fell. Those who fell were all at the late stage of the spiritual martial realm. Jian Rian can still stand. It can be seen that her spirit is also not bad. After Qin Yun released the power of the star crystal to resist, he felt Bao Changsho's mental power collide in his mind. Although it was very uncomfortable, it did not make him faint immediately. Not long after, Yu Bufeng also collapsed. Qin Yun felt that it was a pity because Yu Bufeng was not bad. After a while, Long Xiaofeng could not hold on any longer and fainted on the ground. Now there were only 7 people left. In the Lawkeeper Hall, there are also disciples with strong mental strength. If Qin Yun stepped into the mid-stage spirit martial realm and cultivated an origin spirit, his spiritual power would definitely be stronger. After a few people fell, there were only 4 left. Qin Yun, Long Xiaofeng and 2 other youths. Bao Changsho also hurriedly retracted his mental power and said with a smile, You guys are quite powerful. I thought I would be able to knock you guys out. I didn't expect you guys to still be standing. After the powerful spiritual force was withdrawn, the 2 youths of the Lawkeeper Hall also quickly fell to the ground. Jian Rian is also powerless. Just as she was about to fall, Qin Yun walked over and supported her. Maybe it's because when Qin Yun went over to support her, he didn't pay much attention and touched a certain soft spot on Jian Rian's body, causing the dizzy Jian Rian to immediately rejoice and come over. You bastard! Jian Rian pushed Qin Yun away and rubbed her forehead. Only Qin Yun seemed unaffected. It was obvious that the strength of his mental strength was far above the other disciples. Qin Yun, you have not entered the middle stage of the spirit martial realm, but your mental power seems to have become much stronger. Bao Changshu said in surprise. It's just a little bit stronger. Qin Yun sighed. If only I could break through, I would be able to improve in all aspects. After Bao Changshu woke up the disciples, he said, although you guys have failed, you can follow us to watch the battle and join in the fun. Yu Bufeng and Long Qiaofeng both felt that it is a bit regretful, because according to the ranking of the Immortal Weapon Fantasy Field's Martial Dao list, they had the chance to participate but now they have failed. Alright, let's set off now, Bao Changshu said with a smile before walking out of the hall. When he arrived outside, he released his flying ship. After Qin Yun boarded the ship, he came to a large hall in the cabin and asked, Sect Master, where are we going? Where is the martial arts tournament being held? Granny Ma said, I won't be going to the Sword Immortal Pavilion. I still have things to take care of here. After Jian Rian heard this, she immediately said happily, Sword Immortal Pavilion? Great, I stayed there for a period of time when I was young. I can take you guys there to play. Little Sister Yen, you can clearly go to the Sword Immortal Pavilion, but you came to the Immortal Weapon City. Qin Yun said. I like it, I'm willing. What's wrong? Jian Rian is very unconvinced by Qin Yun because from the beginning, she felt that Qin Yun was a weak chicken. But now, not only is he stronger than her, he is also stronger than the brother who that she admires. The Sword Immortal Pavilion is Jian Nanhu's home ground. Why would the martial arts tournament be held in the territory of the Sword Immortal Pavilion? Qin Yun asked in confusion. Jian Shitian is worried that the Divine Inscription Palace is scheming, so he strongly wants to hold it in his territory. Furthermore, our immortal sects also agreed. Jian Shitian's grandson almost died on the Devil Martial Island, so the Divine Inscription Palace made a concession on this matter. Otherwise, Jian Shitian would continue to pester this matter. Bao Changshu said. Qin Yun, don't worry. In the Sword Immortal Pavilion, no one would dare to act recklessly. Jian Rian smiled proudly and said, That is the second home of our Jian family disciples. Call me Brother Yun. Qin Yun said with a smile, You little girl, why are you so forgetful? I'm not a disciple of your Jian family. Furthermore, I defeated Jian Nanhu. Those fellows from the Sword Immortal Pavilion probably all hate me. Yes, but even though we hate you, we won't act recklessly. Jian Rian doesn't want to address Qin Yun as Brother Yun at all. Long Qiaofeng suddenly said in a low voice, How long will it take to go to the Sword Immortal Pavilion? 1 or 2 days. I'll try my best to slow down. Bao Changshu chuckled and said, I won't hide it from you guys. Not only is my flying ship beautiful and huge, it is also an extremely high-grade Dao tool. Only when we appear last can we properly show off. Long Qiaofeng looked at Qin Yun and asked in a low voice, Qin Yun, although our Long family has enmity with you, I don't have any ill intentions towards you. Can you do me a favor? Help me make a talisman, I'll pay you purple coins. Alright, no problem. Qin Yun also knows that Long Qiaofeng deliberately said this because she has something to discuss with him. Brother Yun, be careful of her. The people from the Long family are all very sinister. Jian Rian promptly warned. With the sect master here, don't worry. Qin Yun smiled and followed Long Qiaofeng out of the hall. Bao Changshu is not worried that Long Qiaofeng will act recklessly because with Long Qiaofeng's strength, she won't be able to deal with Qin Yun. Qin Yun followed Long Qiaofeng into a room. Long Xiaofeng is wearing a beautiful red skirt, she has a charming face, her beautiful red phoenix eyes are also looking at Qin Yun. Qin Yun, after I stepped into the spirit martial realm, something happened during my cultivation, Long Xiaofeng said in a low voice. I don't know what's going on either, so I didn't mention it to anyone else. Right now, Qin Yun is the person Long Xiaofeng trusts the most. Tell me about it, Qin Yun asked. Long Xiaofeng's martial spirit was carved with a dragon totem by him. When I stepped into the spirit martial realm, I also cultivated a dragon totem martial art. Then, I cultivated this. Long Xiaofeng opened her sexy and beautiful mouth and spat out a fire pearl the size of a dragon eye nucleus. This is my Dao core. The primordial spirit I cultivated is also inside. When Ling Yuner saw the pearl, she shouted in alarm. Xiao Yun, that's a dragon pearl. This woman actually cultivated such a small dragon pearl. She's very powerful. Qin Yun, I concealed my strength during the test just now because I didn't want to participate in the martial arts tournament. I was worried that I would expose some things. Long Xiaofeng said again. Xiaofeng, this is a dragon pearl. You are a descendant of the Long family, you must have heard about it. Qin Yun quickly said. Dragon. Dragon pearl? Long Xiaofeng is immediately shocked. That is something that can only be cultivated by half-immortals. After cultivating a dragon pearl, one can transform into a dragon, but I still have the phoenix martial spirit. Xiaofeng, do you think that the phoenix martial spirit has any effect on you? Qin Yun asked again. No effect. Long Xiaofeng shook her head. If it doesn't have any effect, then don't worry about it. Qin Yun looked at the dragon pearl and exclaimed, You cultivated this through the dragon totem martial art. It seems that the totem martial art you comprehended is really powerful. It was also because of your sister's guidance that I was able to successfully comprehend it. Long Xiaofeng smiled. Qin Yun, take this dragon pearl and see if you can establish a mental connection with me. I will teach you the dragon totem martial art I comprehended. Qin Yun promptly took the dragon pearl and placed it on his palm. At this time, Long Xiaofeng also held his hand. In the middle of their palms is the dragon pearl. It is overflowing with true multicolored light. Not long after, the dragon totem martial art also gradually appeared in Qin Yun's mind. It seems to have succeeded, Qin Yun said in pleasant surprise. And this should be our Long family's heavenly dragon art. However, our Long family's heavenly dragon art is incomplete and mine is complete. You can cultivate it according to the situation, Long Xiaofeng said with smile. I have also fulfilled my promise to you. And then we are even, Qin Yun said with smile. That won't do, I still have to help you investigate the Long family's situation, Long Xiaofeng suddenly said in low voice. Qin Yun, your wife from Demon Moon Island, has a very strong dragon martial spirit. I feel that it is much more powerful than my dragon martial spirit. Other than this, did you discover anything else? Qin Yun asked with a frown. Qin Yun, your wife's dragon martial spirit shouldn't be a black martial spirit. My guess is that it is in existence even stronger than a black martial spirit, Long Xiaofeng said. I have seen people with black dragon martial spirit before, I also recognize that kind of aura. Let's not talk about this anymore, let's go out, Qin Yun said. Don't tell anyone else. Long Xiaofeng nodded. Soon after, Qin Yun and Long Xiaofeng arrived at the hall. When Yu Bufeng saw them come out, he said with smile, Qin Yun, why did you help her carve runes? She is a disciple of the Long family, maybe she will harm you in the future. Because she is beautiful, much more beautiful than little sister Yan, Qin Yun said with smile. Qin Yun, you tell me which part of her is better than me. Jian Ruyan is about to explode as she shouted. Her chest is bigger than yours, Qin Yun said with a chuckle. Jian Ruyan stomped her feet in anger. Just as she was about to flip out, the large ship suddenly shook. Chapter 678. Chapter 678. Sky Island Sword City. Bao Changshu hurriedly walked out of the cabin and went outside. Qin Yun and company followed him out and saw a huge black ship emitting a lot of black gas. It is not far away. Both ships have protective shields, so the collision did not damage the hull. Seeing the evil aura coming from the ship, Bao Changshu's expression turned grave. That's a ship from the Devil Desolate Devil sect. In the Devil Desolate, to be able to have such a powerful ship, it must be a very powerful devil sect. Did you do it on purpose? Bao Changshu shouted angrily at the ship. So what? Who told you to run in front of us? There is a yellow-haired old man on the ship, he sneered and shouted. Rotten old man, we hit you on purpose. Bao Changshu's expression turned gloomy and he clenched his fists tightly. Jian Rian said in a low voice, Sect Master, attack and kill them. I am the Sect Master of the Immortal Weapon City, Bao Changshu. I will give you a chance. If you sincerely apologize, this matter will be over. Bao Changshu said. I am from Totem Pavilion, who do you think you are? A nameless junior. The yellow-haired old man sneered. Although the Immortal Weapon City is famous, you are not famous at all. Bao Changshu is infuriated. He is the sect master of the Immortal Weapon City, but now he is being provoked by a devil sect. Then go to hell. Bao Changshu suddenly took out a flaming bell and threw it into the air. 1. The bell shook and emitted a bell sound. Following the sound of the bell, a flame accompanied the sound wave and turned into a pillar of fire. It charged down from the sky and smashed into the black ship. Bao Changshu suddenly attacked. The other party did not expect it. After being hit by the ball of flame, the black ship broke apart from the middle. Boom, boom, boom. The ship immediately began to burn with fierce flames, and a series of explosions occurred. Beast oil. Qin Yun said in alarm. There is a lot of beast oil on that ship. The black flying ship is over 1,000 meters long and it was broken by Bao Changshu in an instant. One must know that Bao Changshu released an immortal tool. The people inside the ship are enveloped in flames and unable to escape. The broken ship also fell to the ground. The large amount of beast oil it carried also burned the ground into a sea of fire. Many demons on the ship screamed in pain in the sea of fire. The yellow-haired old man who provoked Bao Changshu also fled in fear. He found it hard to believe that the sect master of the Immortal Weapon City actually dared to destroy their ship. The beast oil they are transporting should be sent to the Divine Inscription Palace, right? Bao Changshu looked at the remaining fragments in the air and said with a chuckle, This group of fellows from Totem Pavilion are so arrogant in the magical desolate that they have forgotten who they are after coming to the spirit desolate. The Totem Pavilion was also Qin Yun's old enemy. It was said that the Totem Pavilion was one of the strongest devil sects in the magical desolate land. Sect Master, why didn't you kill that yellow-haired old man? Jian Rian said, With your strength you can definitely kill him. I want him to escape and then tell Totem Pavilion. Didn't he say that I'm not famous? I want to make a name for myself now. After Bao Changshu took over as the sect master, he was indeed very low-key. Only the older batch of people knew him. Now, if he wanted to establish the prestige of the sect master, he would have to display his toughness. Just now, the guy from Totem Pavilion dared to casually provoke him. If the old ancestor was provoked, he would do the same. Jian Ruyan giggled. No, no, no. If Jian Shirtian was provoked like this, he would probably kill his way to Totem Pavilion and make those fellows from Totem Pavilion apologize to him. I admit that my strength is inferior to Jian Shirtian's, so I can't do what he did. Bao Changshu said with a smile. Qin Yun said, Sect Master, the direction of that ship seems to be the same as ours. Could it be that they are also going to participate in the martial arts tournament? Jian Rian said with a frown. Even if the Sword Immortal Pavilion needs a large amount of beast oil, they would definitely not buy it from Totem Pavilion. Many of the great powers in the Spirit Desolate only secretly trade with the Devil sections. They don't dare to be so ostentatious with such a big business. It's also possible that they are going to cause trouble. Bao Changsho looked into the distance and said, I received news that there will be a few powerful devil sects joining in on the fun in this martial arts tournament. The martial arts tournament is being held in the Sword Immortal Pavilion. If those devil sects dare to cause trouble, aren't they courting death? Jian Rian understood the Sword Immortal Pavilion very well and felt that it was impossible. It was invited by the Divine Inscription Palace. Because the Divine Inscription Palace promised Jian Shitian that the martial arts tournament would be held in the Sword Immortal Pavilion, Jian Shitian also needed to agree to some conditions of the Divine Inscription Palace. Bao Changsho said, Therefore, it is extremely likely that those devil sects were invited by the Divine Inscription Palace. Isn't it just a martial arts tournament? Why does the Divine Inscription Palace value it so much? Qin Yun found it somewhat difficult to understand. Bao Changsho shook his head and said, The martial arts tournament is not that simple. The Divine Inscription Palace is only in charge of organizing it, but behind the scenes, it is indeed the Nine Suns sect that caused it. Nine Suns sect. Qin Yun has not heard anyone mention it for a long time. Back in the Martial Desolate, many people from the Nine Suns sect appeared. Later on, they also went to the Spirit Desolate, but their whereabouts are unknown. In the Spirit Desolate, the region we are in is called the Ordinary Realm. There are also the Xian Domain and the Ancient Domain. The Nine Suns sect is in the center of the Xian Domain and controls the Xian Domain. They are also the most powerful existence in the Divine Inscription Palace. Many years ago, they were also active in the Ordinary Realm. Later on, they established the Divine Inscription Palace, and then they retreated to the Xian Domain. Bao Changsho said. Previously, Wu Mingxiu came to find Qin Yun and said that he wanted to explore the Xian Domain of the Spirit Desolate. After that, there has been no news of him. In that case, aren't those Nine Suns sects very strong? If they come here, will they take down those immortal sects? Qin Yun asked somewhat worriedly. Although they are strong, if they want to take down the immortal sects of the Ordinary Realm, they will have to bleed a lot. The reason why they are not active in the Ordinary Realm is because the various immortal sects have grown up and are not under their control. However, our immortal sects have always been in contact with them. Bao Changsho said, The reason why the various immortal sects can grow up is also because of those Nine Suns sects. Qin Yun also heard before that many of the great powers and clans in the Spirit Desolate are inextricably linked to the Nine Suns sect. However, what is the importance of the martial arts tournament? If you win first place, you will be able to obtain the divine ability. This divine ability is given by the Divine Inscription Palace. That's all. Qin Yun said. Why does the Divine Inscription Palace care so much about it? Qin Yun, if we win first place in the martial arts tournament, we will be able to obtain the right to speak in the Divine Inscription Palace. For many years, the majority of the first place in the martial arts tournament has been obtained by the factions within the Divine Inscription Palace, and then by the Sword Immortal Pavilion. The Divine Inscription Palace is formed by many powerful forces, and then a general manager is chosen to manage it. Now, the power of those general managers is growing. They want to put aside other forces and control the entire Divine Inscription Palace. However, they are worried that they will be wiped out, so they proposed this martial arts tournament. As long as the disciples sent out can obtain first place, they will be able to have the right to manage the Divine Inscription Palace. Bao Changsho slowly narrated the secret dispute. Qin Yun never expected that the waters of the martial arts tournament would be so deep. However, he felt that it might not be just that. As for the specifics, I'm not sure either. Because our immortal weapon city has never won before, so it's up to you guys. Bao Changshu shook his head and smiled. Sect Master, don't worry. We will definitely help the immortal weapon city get first place, Jian Ruyan said with great confidence. Little sister Yen, didn't you say that I'm inferior to Jian Nanhu? Qin Yun said with a smile. Jian Ruyan snorted and entered the cabin. The ship flew for 2 days. Qin Yun and company finally arrived at the Sword Immortal Pavilion. The Sword Immortal Pavilion is a huge floating island. It is more than 10,000 meters above the ground. From afar, it is quite shocking. On the way here, Jian Ruyan also said that the floating island is very mysterious. It has existed since the ancient times and there are some mysterious stones inside the island, so it can float. On that island, there is a huge city that is not inferior to the immortal weapon city. It is called Sword City. In the center of the Sword City there is a huge villa. The Sword Immortal Pavilion is located in that villa. The flying ship can only stop at the side of the flying island. It can't fly in because the entire island is protected by a very strong barrier. After they disembarked, they sat on the small flying boat sent by the Sword Immortal Pavilion and flew towards the Sword Immortal Pavilion in the center of the city. There are more than 20 people on the small flying boat. It is somewhat crowded and its speed is also slightly slow. The Sword Immortal Pavilion is really stingy, Qin Yun said in a low voice. They sent such a small thing to pick us up. Qin Yun is not the only one who thinks this way. Even Jian Ruyan feels the same way. Although the others have such thoughts, they don't dare to say anything because Jian Ruyan is here. After the middle-aged man from the Sword Immortal Pavilion, who is controlling the consumer boat, heard this, he quickly explained. Originally, we also had many large VIP boats, but they were all borrowed by the Divine Inscription Palace. They originally agreed to return them to us in 2 days, but they did not return them. Divine Inscription Palace? Bao Changshu slightly frowned and asked, Why did you lend them to them? I don't know. The middle-aged man shook his head. Those fellows from the Divine Inscription Palace are so bad, why would we lend them to them? Jian Ruyan said in a very bad mood. The Sword Immortal Pavilion and the Divine Inscription Palace must have made some kind of exchange. Bao Changshu said with a smile. Not all of the Divine Inscription Palace are dead scoundrels. There are also a few good ones. What's the use of a few good ones? Those in power are all scoundrels. Jian Ruyan was almost humiliated by an immortal disciple of the Divine Inscription Palace, so she doesn't have any good impression of the Divine Inscription Palace. When Qin Yun was in the Martial Desolate, he knew that the majority of the upper echelons of the Divine Inscription Palace are scoundrels. Only a small portion of them are good. The VIP boat is back. The middle-aged man suddenly looked at the sky and shouted in pleasant surprise. The VIP boat is indeed very big. They are all dozens of meters long and over 100 meters long. And the small flying boat that Qin Yun and company are on is only 10 meters long. The VIP boat is flying in the air, and its speed is relatively fast. In an instant it surpassed them. Not long after, Bao Changshu also brought Qin Yun and company out of the Sword Immortal Villa. Devil Warriors. The VIP boat is actually going to pick up the Devil Warriors. Chapter 679. Immortal disciples contend for hegemony. Qin Yun previously thought that the martial arts tournament was only a martial arts competition, but now it seems that it is not that simple. Just as Bao Changshu had guessed, it was the Divine Inscription Palace who invited the Devil Sect disciples. The reason why the Divine Inscription Palace borrowed so many VIP ships is to bring the Devil Sect disciples to participate in the martial arts tournament. The forces in the Devil Desolate have low refining standards and do not have that many good flying magic tools. Although the divine inscription palace has them, they are scattered everywhere, so they borrowed them from the sword immortal pavilion. It seems like the various great devil sects of the devil desolate have a very good relationship with the divine inscription palace. The ship that I destroyed earlier should have been refined by the divine inscription palace for the totem pavilion. Bao Changsho sneered. Sect Master, there are so many disciples of the devil sect. Are they here to participate in the martial arts tournament or to watch? Qin Yun asked in a low voice. Some of them should be here to participate in the martial arts tournament. Don't worry, in a place like the Sword Immortal Pavilion, they shouldn't dare to play tricks. Bao Changsho said, Let's go and meet them. Bao Changsho brought his disciples and walked over. At this moment, he also saw Jian Shitian quickly walking over. In addition, there is also a group of people from the Divine Inscription Palace and an old man with dark purple hair. Qin Yun also saw Jian Nanhu. He is secretly shocked in his heart because Jian Nanhu gives him an even stronger feeling. Xiao Yun, Jian Nanhu suddenly has an immortal body. How did this guy cultivate it? Ling Yun said in shock. Jian Nanhu is wearing a set of white clothes. Although he is standing respectfully behind Jian Shitian, his eyes are filled with arrogance. Especially when he saw Qin Yun, his eyes are filled with strong battle intent. Are you immortal weapon cities, Bao Changsho? The purple-haired old man walked over with a face full of anger and said in a deep voice. Who are you? Bao Changsho also roughly guessed the other party's identity. I am Totem Pavilion's sect master, Tu Tian and D. The purple-haired old man's eyes revealed killing intent. It was you who destroyed our ship, right? That ship hit me first and it was on purpose. I gave them a chance to admit their mistake but they didn't, so I casually destroyed that ship. Bao Changsho smiled faintly and said, It's a pity that you weren't there at that time. Otherwise, I would have been able to carry out justice on behalf of the heavens and eliminate you, demon. Old Shorty, I'm going to kill you. Tu Tiendi flew into a rage and took out a black heavy sword. In my Sword Immortal Pavilion's territory, please give me some face. Jian Shitian released his sword intent, causing Tu Tiendi's expression to slightly change. Tu Tiendi kept his weapon and said to the half-immortal from the Divine Inscription Palace, General Manager Yi, this Bao Changsho also killed your people before, right? Looks like we have a common enemy. That's right, Immortal Weapon City is our common enemy. One day we will definitely flatten them. General Manager Yi looked at Bao Changsho and sneered. Knowing that Bao Changsho has arrived, the half-immortals of other sects and clans also came to watch the show. They also heard that Bao Changsho destroyed a huge ship carrying beast oil from Totem Pavilion, and Totem Pavilion's sect master, Tu Tiendi, is a devil that is not to be trifled with. Qin Yun also saw Xiao Yuelon. She is wearing a white dress and her face is covered with a black veil, covering her beautiful face. Beside her is Hu Jingxian, the charming and seductive fox spirit. In the plaza of the Sword Immortal Villa, all the big shots of the major powers of the proud Star State have gathered. General Manager Yi pointed at Qin Yun and said, Old Tu, this kid is Qin Yun. Is this Qin Yun? He caused a reign of terror in the martial desolate. His Dao tool was obtained from killing the disciples of the Nine Suns sect. He is a bandit. Furthermore, this guy has the Heavenly Lion Totem inheritance. In the martial desolate, he offended 8 of the 9 Suns sects. Tu Tiendi knows Qin Yun very well. Many of the big shots here previously understood some things about Qin Yun, but they were unable to confirm if it was true or not. Now that Tu Tiendi said this, it is still shocking. Especially those young disciples. They never expected Qin Yun to come from the martial desolate. Furthermore, he had caused such a huge commotion. Jian Nanhu clenched his fists tightly. Only now did he know that Qin Yun has mastered the Heavenly Lion Totem. However, he did not sense the power of the Heavenly Lion Totem. Therefore, he believed that Qin Yun had concealed a lot of his strength. Tu Tiandi said with a sneer, Qin Yun, I heard that you have the black vibration martial spirit and the purple gold thunder flame martial spirit. However, after testing, you only have one martial spirit. Are you crippled? You have caused great losses to our totem pavilion in the martial desolate. We will not let you off. It was you who came to cause trouble for me because you wanted to snatch my heavenly lion totem. It is normal for me to take revenge on you, Qin Yun said coldly. He hated Totem Pavilion very much. Qin Yun, I won't kill you, but you better be careful. Others might not know about your relationship with Yang Shiryu, but I know very well, Tu Tiandi said with a sinister smile. Qin Yun suspected that his good relationship with Yang Shiryu was most likely spread out from the Nether Moon Palace. Bao Changshu is slightly angry and said, Tu Tiandi, you are the leader of an evil devil sect. How dare you be so arrogant in the spirit desolate? You should be the one to be careful. Bao Changshu, I am not afraid of you. If you want to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens, come at me. Tu Tiandi laughed loudly. Old Tu, ignore them. Let's have a few good drinks, General Manager Yi said before leaving with Tu Tiandi. After Jian Shitian saw them leave, he looked at the disciples behind Bao Changshu and said with a frown, Old Bao, you didn't bring any immortal disciples? I didn't bring any. Why? Bao Changshu said. Then your immortal weapon city might be out of luck. Jian Shitian smiled. As long as a disciple can enter the top 2 in the martial arts tournament, then the power behind this disciple will have a position in the proud Star State's Divine Inscription Palace. This position is very important. It can decide many things and also obtain great benefits, Bao Changshu said with a smile. For so many years, our immortal weapon city has not relied on the Divine Inscription Palace. Haven't we lived well? Jian Shitian shook his head and said, This time is different. Because this time, we are fighting for the position of the 2 overlords of the proud Star State. Once we obtain that position, we will have the opportunity to obtain an immortal origin. It seemed like Bao Changshu was the only one who did not know about it. The leaders of the other sects had already heard about it. However, there were many disciples who did not know about this, and when they heard about it, they let out cries of surprise. If an immortal sect has 2 immortal origins, then the immortal chi will be even denser and all aspects will be improved. 2 immortal origins are provided by Xian Domain. Jian Shitian patted Bao Changshu's shoulder. You guys take care of yourselves. The reason why they let the younger generation compete is because those half-immortals don't want to fight. Because if half-immortals die in a fight, it will shake the foundation of a faction. Jian Nanhu said to Qin Yun, I have cultivated an immortal body. Don't worry about how I cultivated it. In short, you are definitely not my match right now. Ah. Jian Nanhu, who is in the middle stage of the spirit martial realm, has also cultivated an immortal body. This caused many people to be shocked. As for Qin Yun, he was only at the early stage of the spirit martial realm. Jian Nanhu, I wish you good luck in obtaining first place in the martial arts tournament, Qin Yun said with a calm smile. Qin Yun, you are still at the initial stage of the spirit martial realm, yet you are still so calm. Don't tell me you are planning to give up? It's fine, if I were you, I would also give up. Jian Nanhu laughed loudly and left with Jian Shitian. Jian Rian lightly snorted and said, Brother who cultivated an immortal body, he is too arrogant and underestimated his opponent. Qin Yun smiled faintly. Therefore, he will definitely lose to me. I will teach him how to be a person again. You are also very arrogant. Jian Rian rolled her eyes at him. Bao Changshu said, Let nature take its course. I can't bear to take out our immortal weapon city's immortal disciples. Jian Rian, Yu Bufeng and the other disciples are all extremely astonished. They always thought that the Immortal Weapon City didn't have any immortal disciples. Lu Jingmeng is an immortal disciple and her strength is unfathomable. However, because of her personality, she is not the fighting type. Therefore, Bao Changshu will definitely not take her out. Bao Changshu and the others were arranged to stay in a large courtyard. It is already evening and everyone returned to their rooms to rest. Tomorrow, the martial arts tournament will begin. In the morning, before the sky brightened, Bao Changshu called Qin Yun, Jian Rian and 2 other disciples to a hall. Last night, I went to inquire. Other than us, the 5 great immortals have all sent out immortal disciples. The Divine Inscription Palace has also sent out 2. And the Sword Immortal Pavilion has sent out the most immortal disciples, a total of 4. Bao Changshu said, "Today and tomorrow there will be a selection. 16 people will be selected for the final martial arts competition." Qin Yun said, "In that case there are as many as 8 immortal disciples?" Not only that, the Medicine Immortal Valley, the Azure Flame Immortal Mountain and the Demon Immortal Paradise each sent 2. The Sword Immortal Pavilion has 4. Adding the 2 from the Sword Immortal Pavilion, there are a total of 12. With the strength of the 12 immortal disciples, they will definitely be able to obtain a spot. The 5 great clans, 5 great star sects and the 3 moon sect, as well as other miscellaneous sects and clans, along with a few great devil sects, are fighting for 4 spots. The competition is very fierce. Bao Changshu is actually very calm. He said with a smile, "It doesn't matter if you can get first place or not, as long as you don't get injured." Jian Rian said, "Since we're here, we have to fight for a spot." Qin Yun said with a smile, "Let's see our luck. If our luck is good, maybe we can easily obtain a spot?" The other 2 youths did not say anything. Although their strength is not bad, they feel that they have no chance of winning against those terrifying immortal disciples. Qin Yun killed an immortal disciple of the Divine Inscription Palace, so he is the most confident. "Alright, then let's set off to participate in the preliminaries," Bao Changshu said. Bao Changshu brought a group of disciples to a huge plaza in the southeast region of the Sword Immortal Villa. Today, the preliminaries will be held here. At the side of the plaza, there are many huge swords that are over 100 meters tall. They are flickering with cold light and the sword energy is threatening. It seems like a very strong sword formation, causing the entire plaza to be filled with solemnity and killing intent. In the plaza, Qin Yun sensed the auras of more than 10 powerful immortal disciples. Chapter 680. Body of Evil. After Bao Changshu and company arrived at this huge plaza, Jian Nanhu also walked over. "Brother Hu, what are the specifics of today's preliminaries?" Jian Rian asked. "There will be a total of 16 groups. The 16 groups will battle against each other, and the one who wins will enter the final competition." Jian Nanhu looked at Qin Yun and said, "Qin Yun, you don't have an immortal body or something like that. I reckon you won't be able to enter the final competition." "Why are you so sure that I will lose? I defeated an immortal disciple before," Qin Yun asked. Jian Nanhu looked at the group of people with dense evil aura in the distance and said, "Do you see that? They are all from Devil Desolate. The 5 great devil sects of the Devil Desolate have sent out a total of 15 disciples. Among these disciples, 10 of them have devil body and 5 of them have evil body. And our Spirit Desolates, 5 great immortals, and the Divine Inscription Palace also have more than 10 disciples with immortal bodies." After Bao Changshu heard this, he was slightly surprised and said, "The 5 demon sects actually sent so many powerful disciples." Jian Rian nodded and said, "The devil sects of the Devil Desolate also want to obtain an immortal origin. The Divine Inscription Palace had reached an agreement with them, so they set the cultivation of the participating disciples at the late stage of the spirit martial realm. Of course, although I am only at the middle stage of the spirit martial realm, I don't feel any pressure. He looked at Qin Yun and said, Qin Yun, what's wrong with you? As long as the disciples who returned from the Devil Martial Island were still alive, most of them would have stepped into the middle stage of the spirit martial realm through those star Dao cores, but you are still at the initial stage. My mental power cultivation is rather special, so there's a problem. Qin Yun is also very helpless because he doesn't know what the specific problem is. Jian Nanhu also recalled Qin Yun's mental power cultivation method. It is an extremely dangerous mental star transformation cultivation method. Prepare to split into groups. Our participating disciples, let's go. Jian Nanhu is somewhat excited because this martial arts tournament is his opportunity to hold his head high. He was defeated by Qin Yun twice before and now, he finally has the strength to defeat Qin Yun. Qin Yun and company followed Jian Nanhu to the front of the plaza. There are many disciples gathered there. The disciples that came to participate, even if they were immortal disciples, felt a lot of pressure. There were more than 10 immortal disciples, and there were also 15 devil warriors with devil body and evil body. It wouldn't be easy for them to get a spot in the competition. Even the immortal disciples were worried, much less the other disciples. Even Jian Ruyan feels an enormous pressure. She could also tell that this time, the Immortal Weapon City did not have any immortal disciples to participate in the competition. If they could not even get a spot in the competition, it would be extremely embarrassing. What's with the grouping? Aren't we supposed to go up and draw lots? Qin Yun said with a frown. The Divine Inscription Palace is in charge of grouping them. Jian Nanhu patted Qin Yun's shoulder. He said with smile, Qin Yun, I am very worried that you won't be able to enter the final competition. At that time, I won't be able to compete with you. Damn Divine Inscription Palace, they will definitely target me. Qin Yun cursed in a low voice. General Manager Yi of the Divine Inscription Palace had people paste a piece of paper on each of the 16 battling platforms. Qin Yun quickly looked at his group. He was in the 15th group. When he saw his opponent, he cursed in his heart because the immortal, fiend, and evil disciples were all gathered here. Jian Nanhu is in the first group. There are also immortal and devil disciples, but none of them are from the Divine Inscription Palace. Among the 16 groups, the one with the best luck is the Divine Inscription Palace. Their 2 immortal disciples groups don't have any immortal or devil disciples. Obviously, they deliberately arranged it. Jian Nanhu walked over to Qin Yun and said with a smile, Qin Yun, your group should be called the Group of Death. There are 3 devil disciples, 2 immortal disciples and 2 evil disciples. The immortal disciples are from the Azure Flame Immortal Mountain and the Medicine Immortal Valley. Qin Yun is only dissatisfied with the Divine Inscription Palace, but he doesn't think much of his opponents. What's the situation with little sister Yin? Qin Yun asked. Her situation is not too optimistic either. There are both devil and immortal disciples. Although there is only one each, the pressure on her is still quite great. Jian Nanhu sighed. Soon after, Qin Yun looked at each battle platform one by one. He discovered that Xiao Yuelan's 10th group has both immortal, devil, and evil disciples. The situation is also quite bad. Qin Yun is not worried about Xiao Yuelan at all. He only feels that those devil and immortal disciples are a bit unlucky. 16 groups, there are not only 16 people in each group, there are also 20 or 22 people. Next is the cultivation test. If one exceeds the late-stage spirit martial realm, they won't be able to participate. After Qin Yun passed the test, he was determined to be at the initial stage spirit martial realm. This made many disciples heave a sigh of relief, especially those immortal disciples. Although Qin Yun defeated an immortal disciple before, they all felt that Qin Yun used some tricks. If it was a fair and square competition, he would definitely not be able to win against an immortal disciple. After the test, it is time to begin the competition for each group. Qin Yun deliberately stood in a certain position and looked at the list of names on the battle platform. Xiao Yuelon also arrived near him and secretly transmitted her voice to him. Xiao Yun, when dealing with devil and evil cultivators, using overwhelming righteous power will yield twice the result with half the effort. However, it is best to use it secretly, otherwise it will provoke those devil sect masters. Xiao Yuelon transmitted her voice. Yuelon, did the Nether Moon Palace leak some information about me and Big Sister Yang? Qin Yun asked. Yes. Xiao Yun, you don't have to worry too much about Big Sister Yang. With her ability, she can protect herself. Xiao Yuelon said. Prepare for the martial arts competition, you must be careful. And you be careful too. After a short conversation with Xiao Yuelon, Qin Yun also arrived at the 15th group's battle platform. He is the second to go on stage. And the first match is between a Long family disciple and a devil sect disciple. Yuner, is there any difference between evil body and devil body? Qin Yun is rather puzzled about this. The strength of the devil body is mainly reflected in the body, and the evil body is reflected in the mind and heart. Ling Yuner said. In other words, people with evil body will be even more evil. The power they use can affect your mind, it is equivalent to mental power attack. Qin Yun has the overwhelming righteous martial spirit, so he is not afraid of those evil spirit. He is very calm. The martial arts competition on the various battle platforms has officially begun. Qin Yun did not look at the 15th group. Instead, he looked at the 13th group. Jian Ruyan is fighting with a man. That man is truly a devil sect disciple with devil body. I wonder if this girl can defeat that guy. Qin Yun is still rather worried about Jian Ruyan. Jian Ruyan is only at the middle stage of the spirit martial realm, and the opponent has devil body and is at the late stage of the spirit martial realm. The disparity is too great. Xiao Yun, this girl Ruyan has dual sword martial spirit. Especially after stepping into the middle stage of the spirit martial realm, her mental sword is even stronger. Ling Yuner said. One must know that everyone feels that among the disciples of the immortal weapon city, only Jian Ruyan can hold her own. The devil sect disciple who is fighting with Jian Ruyan has a very tall and sturdy body. He is 2 meters tall and the muscles on his body are light black and very sturdy. Jian Ruyan's origin sword chopped down on the skin and flesh of the devil sect disciple. It actually issued a crisp dang 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 sound. It can be seen how strong the skin and flesh of the devil sect disciple is. Little Sister Yan's speed is quite fast and she is quite good at using dual swords. Although the defense of that devil sect disciple is very strong, he also has weak point. His eyes and mouth are relatively weak areas. Jian Nanhu came to Qin Yun's side and said. She stabbed the devil sect disciple's head a few times just now, but she was unable to pierce through. Furthermore, that devil sect disciple is very focused on defending his head. Qin Yun said with a frown, she should be using mental attack. Although Jian Ruyan is facing a strong enemy, she is extremely calm. Her footsteps are also not chaotic, and she very calmly dodged the opponent's attack. During the martial arts competition, one cannot use weapons, but sword cultivators can use their own origin sword. Jian Ruyan's idea of attacking is also to stab the opponent's weakness, but it was firmly defended. This caused her to only be able to stab the devil sect disciple's head after several attacks. Devil cultivators with devil body have extremely tough skin, flesh, and bones. Jian Ruyan's 2 swords are comparable to high-grade or even royal-grade Xian tools, but they are unable to make the opponent bleed. Little girl, just admit defeat. You are a disciple of the Jian family, I don't want to injure you. The devil sect disciple laughed sinisterly. If it wasn't for the fact that they are competing in the Sword Immortal Pavilion's territory, he would have already said many unpleasant words. The one who admits defeat is you. Jian Ruyan dodged the Devil Sect disciple's attack and retreated to the edge of the battle platform. She arrogantly shouted. She controlled a mental sword that turned into a white light and stabbed at the Devil Sect disciple. The Devil Sect disciple promptly waved his hand to attack. With his powerful devil body, he is not afraid of Jian Ruyan's sword at all. However, after the mental sword shot over, it suddenly exploded and turned into a burst of white light, releasing an extremely strong mental power attack. This kind of mental power attack is not something a strong body can withstand. The Devil Sect disciple immediately felt a wave of dizziness. It was also in that short moment that Jian Ruyan quickly walked over and stabbed at the Devil Sect disciple's eyes. She stabbed twice in a row, causing the Devil Sect disciple to be blinded. His head also suffered a great injury, and he had no choice but to admit defeat. This caused everyone to cry out in alarm. They all praised Jian Ruyan's strength. Qin Yun also felt pain in his eyes. He said, "Were Jian Meng's eyes also stabbed blind?" "Yes. When he was young, he was blinded by a little demon from our Jian family. Although he could be cured, he was not willing to be cured." Jian Nanhu said, "This is very similar to a good friend of mine. After losing an arm, it could be reattached, but he refused. He is not a disciple of your Jian family, but he is also a sword cultivator." Qin Yun thought of Xie Wufeng. "If I have the chance, I want to meet such a person." Jian Nanhu suddenly became very interested. At this moment, the first match of Group 15 also ended. The Long family disciple lost to the Devil Sect disciple. Second match, Qin Yun and Ling Huan come on stage. An old man shouted loudly. Jian Nanhu said, "This Ling Huan is from one of the 5 great devil sects, the bloodthirsty sect. He likes to suck blood very much. It is said that he can suck a person's blood dry in a single breath. This kind of devil, I will let him reincarnate into a human." Qin Yun said, "If we kill these Devil Sect disciples, what will the consequences be? What are you afraid of? You have already been targeted by Totem Pavilion, so what if you are targeted by the Bloodthirsty Sect?" Chapter 681. The bane of evil. In this martial arts tournament, Qin Yun's cultivation level was the lowest, but he still received a lot of attention, because he killed an immortal disciple of the Divine Inscription Palace before. Just based on this point, it proves that he still has strength. Even if he couldn't beat the Demon Sect's Demon Body Demon disciple, he wouldn't be too far off. After Qin Yun walked up the stage, Jian Nanhu also stood below and watched seriously. He did not want to miss Qin Yun's match. He wanted to see Qin Yun's current strength. One must know that ever since Jian Nanhu lost to Qin Yun, he became very hard-working. Now, his strength had increased a lot, but it was unknown if Qin Yun's strength had increased as well. After Qin Yun walked up the stage, Ling Huan from the Bloodthirsty Sect also walked up the stage. Although Ling Huan was a devil disciple of the Devil Sect and possessed a devil body, his body was not strong. Instead, he was much smaller than Qin Yun. However, the demonic aura around Ling Huan's body was extremely dense. Her eyes were emitting a purplish-red radiance, and her teeth were extremely sharp. Also, Ling Huan's nails were long and sharp, as if they could easily tear through a person's skin and flesh. This guy is a vampire. It was said that those who were defeated by him, they will all be sucked dry. I wonder if Qin Yun can resist this guy. I've heard of Ling Huan from the Bloodthirsty Sect. His speed is really fast. Qin Yun's strength is also not weak. Previously, he defeated Jian Nanhu and the Divine Inscription Palace's immortal disciple. He definitely won't be defeated that easily. Not necessarily. Qin Yun is only at the early stage spirit martial realm, and Leng Huan is at the late stage spirit martial realm. There is a difference of 2 realms. Everyone began to discuss fervently. Half of the people felt that Qin Yun would lose to Leng Huan. Leng Huan looked at Qin Yun and licked her lips with her long tongue. She laughed sinisterly and said, "Qin Yun, right? You are indeed a famous person. I can smell your blood. It is very wonderful. Your blood is so powerful that it makes me excited. I must taste it properly." "You villain, how many people's blood have you sucked?" When Qin Yun saw Leng Huan's sinister look, he felt nauseous. He wished he could immediately kill this fellow. "I don't really remember. Anyway, it's at least 8,000, if not 10,000. Leng Huan cackled. "I can guarantee that your blood will be the best blood I've ever tasted." Qin Yun rubbed his fist and sneered. "My blood is not bad, but you bastard, aren't you looking down on me too much? You are only at the early stage of the spirit martial realm. I don't believe that you can defeat me. Especially in this kind of martial arts competition, you simply can't use any tricks." Leng Huan laughed. "Cultivation is proof of strength. If you are really powerful, then you should be able to break through your own cultivation. Because you can't break through, you can only improve your strength in other aspects. This also means that you don't have enough talent and hard work to break through. So, in front of me, you are just a weakling. If you think so, that's for the best." Qin Yun smiled. Leng Huan looked at the middle-aged referee and said, "We are ready. You can announce the start of the match." He seemed to be in a hurry to suck Qin Yun's blood. Qin Yun nodded at the middle-aged referee. "Begin." The middle-aged referee shouted. At this moment, many people in the plaza quickly shifted their gazes over. Long Xiaofeng, Yu Bufeng, Jian Rian and the others also arrived at the side of stage 15. Xiao Yuelan did not come over because she is very clear about Qin Yun's strength. She even felt that if she did not meet Qin Yun in the previous matches, it is extremely likely that the 2 of them would have to fight to the end. Bao Changshuo and Jian Shitian are also watching from not far away. They also want to see Qin Yun's specific strength. Leng Huan's speed is indeed very fast. His small and skinny body made him even more nimble. After he rushed out, he transformed into a shadow and in half a blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Qin Yun. The sharp claws on his hands stabbed towards Qin Yun's heart and abdomen. Leng Huan's usual method is to rush over and tear open a person's heart and abdomen. Then, he bites the opponent's neck and quickly sucks blood. Leng Huan's attack is smooth and swift. It is very coherent. Only people with good eyesight can catch his movement. Just as his claws are about to touch Qin Yun's clothes, Qin Yun suddenly flashed and disappeared. Leng Huan pounced on empty air, and cannot help but be startled. Walala! Suddenly, a vibrating thunder and fire aura surged out. It is extremely dense, and pervaded the battle stage. When everyone saw this scene, they also felt that it is very strange. Qin Yun disappeared? Leng Huan stood on the spot and looked around. The battle stage has a barrier. It is not that easy for the people inside to leave. Where did Qin Yun go? Did he become invisible and become transparent? That requires a transparent martial spirit. I heard that the Divine Inscription Palace has an immortal disciple who has this kind of martial spirit. It's not a transparent martial spirit. Did you guys see that? Leng Huan released some black gas. If Qin Yun was on the battle stage, the black gas would also be able to discover Qin Yun, who has become transparent. The ones who spoke are Xian, martial realm, martial monarchs, and martial kings. They are seniors, they do not know what method Qin Yun used. Qin Yun, get the hell out here! Leng Huan shouted and continuously released a faint black mist that enveloped the battle stage. Jian Nanhu also looked at Jian Rian in astonishment and asked in a low voice, "Little Sister Yen, you have been with Qin Yun for so long, what kind of technique is this?" "I don't know either. Jian Ruyan promptly shook her head. Only Xiao Yuelon knows what kind of technique Qin Yun used. She also knows that kind of technique. She revealed a crafty smile. She also knows that Qin Yun is about to make his move. Ling Huan looked at the middle-aged referee and asked, Qin Yun has disappeared, he should be judged to have lost. Qin Yun did not leave the battle stage. He is still on the battle stage, that means he did not lose. Just as the middle-aged referee finished speaking, something suddenly appeared on the ground. Upon closer inspection, it is black tree roots and vines. They suddenly burst out and wrapped around Ling Huan's lower body. Qin Yun appeared. He is right behind Ling Huan. After he appeared, he gathered his 2 fingers and fiercely stabbed at the back of Ling Huan's head. Boom! A heaven-shaking thunderclap shook the entire plaza. Qin Yun used piercing heavenly fingers, piercing mountain, splitting earth finger, and struck the back of Ling Huan's head, shattering it. The black gas on the battle stage was dispersed by the explosion of the index power. The headless Ling Huan fell to the ground. Thick black blood flowed out of his neck, emitting a sinister aura. In the plaza, the deafening echo reverberated. Everyone looked at the dead Ling Huan and felt incomparable fear in their hearts. You are a devil disciple with a devil body, yet your head was destroyed in an instant. Qin Yun, this guy is simple and crude. Jian Nan, whose brows are tightly knitted, his tone is grave. I underestimated him before. Ling Huan is dead. The people of the bloodthirsty sect are all furious. However, seeing Jian Shitian and Bao Changshu here, they did not dare to do anything to Qin Yun. The people from the Divine Inscription Palace and Totem Pavilion also have grave expressions. They can roughly see Qin Yun's strength. If their disciples were to encounter Qin Yun, they would most likely be killed. Qin Yun won and slowly walked down from the battle stage. He suddenly disappeared just now because he used the mysterious penetration divine ability to hide under the battle stage. Then, when Ling Huan was distracted, he used the tree totem martial art and released tree claws to grab Ling Huan. Finally, he ran out and used piercing heavenly finger to kill him. Qin Yun, you really have 100 tricks up your sleeve. But don't be complacent, I will definitely defeat you. Jian Nan, who smiled proudly. In front of my formidable power, all your tricks are useless. Qin Yun smiled and then looked towards the 10th battle stage. Xiao Yuelon is in the 10th group and now it is her turn to go on stage. Yu Bufeng, Long Xiaofeng and Jian Rian all know that she is Qin Yun's wife. They also know that Xiao Yuelon killed an immortal disciple and is very strong. They did not make this matter public. Xiao Yuelon's opponent is an evil disciple. Moreover, his upper body is covered with totems. Even his face and fingers are densely covered with totem runes. With a single glance, one can tell that this person is a disciple of Totem Pavilion. A disciple of Demon Moon Island. Although half of her face is covered, I can tell that she is definitely a great beauty. Her eyes are really beautiful, but they are a bit ice cold. Such a beauty actually has to face Totem Pavilion's hating. That guy has all kinds of Totem Pavilion, it's really scary. Demon Moon Island only sent one disciple? I wonder how strong this disciple is, but his figure is really beautiful. Everyone seems to be very interested in Demon Moon Island's disciple. Xiao Yuelon is wearing black skin-tight clothes and slowly walked onto the battle stage. Her eyes are filled with coldness and she seems very calm. Seeing her reaction, everyone is secretly alarmed. Because Totem Pavilion's hating looks very scary. His body is strong and his muscles are like lumps of lump. He is filled with all kinds of sinister blue veins, and those totems are even more frightening. Not to mention women, even many male disciples would feel their legs go soft when they meet Totem Pavilion's disciple hating. Qin Yun, can she win? Jian Rian walked over and asked somewhat worriedly. Even 10 of you wouldn't be her match. Qin Yun smiled. You are underestimating me too much. Jian Rian lightly snorted and said. She has interacted with Xiao Yuelan before and knows that Xiao Yuelan is beautiful and has a good figure. She also has deep feelings for Qin Yun. Now that Qin Yun said that his wife is strong, Jian Ruyan did not say anything, but she is somewhat unhappy. Jian Shitian arrived beside Demon Moon Island's people and said in low voice, "Old Mother Yunyao, this little girl Xiao Yuelan's opponent is not weak. Do you want to forfeit?" Demon Moon Island's half-immortal is a very stern-looking old granny. She is wearing white clothes and a black robe. She is holding a broken wooden stick in her hand. She is very tall, a bit taller than the tall and sturdy Jian Shitian. "No need. Jian Shitian, this is your territory. You should be able to suppress those guys from Totem Pavilion, right?" Old Mother Yunyao said. "You mean, that little girl can kill Hating?" Jian Shitian promptly looked at Xiao Yuelan on the battle stage and frowned. Earlier, he carefully looked at Xiao Yuelan but did not find anything special about her. Chapter 682. Thousand Poisons Valley. Jian Shitian cannot see through Xiao Yuelan's strength, but he absolutely does not doubt Old Mother Yunyao's words. He was just surprised that Demon Moon Island actually had such an outstanding female disciple. It seems like Demon Moon Island wants to obtain the immortal origin and become an immortal sect? Jian Shitian chuckled and said, "I'm looking forward to that little girl's performance." Xiao Yuelan coldly looked at Hating on the stage. This was because Totem Pavilion had once bullied Qin Yun. Even now, they wanted to capture Qin Yun and snatch away the Heavenly Lion Totem. Therefore, Xiao Yuelan also hated Totem Pavilion. Hating was a disciple of Totem Pavilion and a demon disciple with a demon body. To Totem Pavilion, he was a very important disciple. "Little girl, I really didn't expect you to be so courageous. You are actually not afraid of me at all." Hating looked at Xiao Yuelan from head to toe. His eyes are filled with evil. In the magical desolate, beauties are extremely rare. This was because the majority of demonic cultivators were men, and for demonic cultivators, women were only tools for reproduction and venting. Women had no status in the magical desolate. From the moment they were born, they were destined not to have a good ending. In the Devil Desolate, there were only a few women who could live a good life. However, they were all the daughters of Devil Desolate experts. Although Hating can't completely see Xiao Yuelan's face, he knows that she is very beautiful. "Why should I be afraid of you?" Xiao Yuelan's ice-cold voice contained killing intent. Yo, what a woman with character." Hating laughed out loud. "Wait a moment, I will definitely let you know why you should be afraid of me. You're just a dead demon, what's there to be afraid of?" Xiao Yuelan said disdainfully and then closed her eyes. "Looking at you makes me feel disgusted. An evil and ugly fellow like you, don't come out to disgust people. Why don't you just stay in the magical desolate land and play with mud?" "Woman, you are truly arrogant to the extreme." Hating immediately became furious and said, "I will definitely tear your face apart. Do you really think you can touch my face? Don't worry, I guarantee that you won't even be able to touch my clothes." Xiao Yuelan sneered. The crowd burst into an uproar. They never expected that a woman would actually dare to act so arrogantly before Hating. This was truly admirable. One must know that a demonic disciple like Hating was extremely famous. Furthermore, he was famous for his ruthlessness. Those that fell into his hands would all die miserably. Totem Pavilion's Tu Tiendi sneered. "Demon Moon Island, I never thought that after so many years, you would be able to nurture such a bold girl. Her courage is not bad, but if she goes on like this, she won't live for long. A cruel scoundrel like you has lived for 10,000 years, why can't I live much longer?" Xiao Yuelan retorted sarcastically. "What an arrogant little girl." Tu Tiendi narrowed his eyes and said, "Hating, teach her a lesson later. Don't kill her. Let her live the rest of her life in pain." Hating laughed sinisterly and said, Sect Master, don't worry. I will let her know how powerful our totem pavilion is. Tu Tiandi laughed loudly and said to General Manager Yi beside him, Old Yi, Hating is one of the strongest spirit martial realm cultivators in our totem pavilion. He is one of the best experts. Guess how many moves that little girl will be defeated in? I guess 3 moves. General Manager Yi chuckled. Before the martial arts competition, there would be a period of time for both sides to adjust their state of mind and adapt to the mood of being watched on the stage. When the old referee saw that Qin Yun and Hating were ready, he shouted, Begin! Hating laughed wildly a few times as black energy surged out from his body. The black energy transformed into many totem runes that revolved around his malevolent body. Seeing how powerful Hating's totem rune control is, many seniors exclaimed in admiration. Old 2, this Hating is truly a good sapling. To be able to control so many totem power and fuse the totem runes with the primordial Tao power, transforming them into forms. General Manager Yi sighed repeatedly. To Hating, this is nothing. His most powerful aspect is that he can transform totems and fuse them with himself. Tu Tiandi also said proudly, Bitch, you will spend the rest of your life in my shadow. Hating laughed loudly. The totem runes on his body are like many long whips that lash towards Xiao Yuelon. The totem runes fused with the primordial Tao power, and they are extremely evil. They are like many lightning whips that lashed out. Those totem thunder whips are multicolored and filled with evil aura. They are like poisonous snakes that bit towards Xiao Yuelon. The totem thunder whips lashed out. Just as Xiao Yuelon was about to be smashed into pieces, her body overflowed with a translucent energy barrier that blocked all the totem thunder whips. Everyone cried out in alarm. They never expected that this seemingly weak woman would be able to neutralize the ferocious totem power just by releasing an energy barrier. Jian Ruyan's face is also filled with astonishment. She looked at Qin Yun and saw that his expression is calm. Damned woman! Hating shouted angrily. The totem on his body suddenly squirmed. It can be seen that he is about to unleash an even stronger attack. However, at this moment, everyone present cried out in alarm. Because, behind Hating, a Xiao Yuelon suddenly appeared. There is a Xiao Yuelon in front of Hating and another one behind him. There are actually 2 Xiao Yuelon on the battle stage. Hating behind. Tu Tiandi immediately shouted. Hating, who was about to attack, suddenly turned around and looked behind him. After seeing Xiao Yuelon, he immediately attacked, releasing an evil black energy wave. And at this moment, Xiao Yuelon, who is behind Hating, suddenly rushed over. Xiao Yuelon also lightly swept past Hating. Hating suddenly knelt on the ground and screamed in pain. Everyone is stunned. Just now, 2 Xiao Yuelon suddenly appeared and distracted Hating's attention. Then, the real Xiao Yuelon suddenly attacked. Xiao Yuelon spread out her hands. On her palms, a black heart and a black Tao core are floating. The black Tao core suddenly split open and burst out with evil black energy. The Tao core shattered, and that heart was forcefully smashed by Xiao Yuelon towards Hating's head. It smashed Hating flying into the barrier and his heart also shattered. Seeing what just happened, even Qin Yun is incomparably shocked. Even Jian Shitian, Bao Changshu, Tu Tiandi, these experienced and knowledgeable half-immortals were shocked by Xiao Yuelon's moves just now. Especially the process of Xiao Yuelon taking out the Tao core and heart, they don't know what kind of technique she used. Hating sensed a wave of killing intent attacking him and immediately shouted, "Aye!" He wanted to shout that he admitted defeat, but just as he said a word, Xiao Yuelon suddenly flashed past him and smashed his upper body with a palm strike. "I ended this filthy dog life. No need to thank me," Xiao Yuelon said coldly and walked down the battle stage. Hating is a devil disciple and a very strong totem devil disciple at that. However, he was killed by a woman in a few moves. Everyone can see that the process of Xiao Yuelon killing Heiting was very easy. Heiting died. Tu Tiandi is extremely furious, but he can only endure. Even if he can't bear it, he can't do anything. Otherwise, he will start a war with Jian Shitian. The plaza is also drowned out by waves of astonished discussions. She's really powerful, Jian Ruyan said in a low voice. Of course, Qin Yun said with a smile. Long Xiaofeng is even more curious about Xiao Yuelon's strength. She sensed that Xiao Yuelon has a very strong dragon martial spirit. Qin Yun is not worried about Xiao Yuelon at all. One must know that Xiao Yuelon was an immortal in her past life. Furthermore, her martial spirit is very strong and she has mastered divine ability. He believes that in this place, only he can compete with Xiao Yuelon. Jian Nanhu walked over and cursed in a low voice. I've really seen a ghost. This woman is really scary. At this time, it is Jian Nanhu's turn to go on stage. In the morning, the first round of competition will be held, and in the afternoon, the second round will be held. Most of the groups only need to fight 4 rounds to decide a winner. Only a few groups need to fight 1 or 2 more rounds. Jian Nanhu's opponent is a disciple of the Azure Flame Immortal Mountain. He doesn't have an immortal body. Without using a sword, he immediately beat his opponent to kneel down and admit defeat. The morning's round ended very quickly. At noon, the people from the Sword Immortal Pavilion are inspecting the situation of the battle platform. The people from Totem Pavilion and Bloodthirsty Sect are the most furious, because in the morning's competition, both of them lost an outstanding disciple. He was killed by Qin Yun and Xiao Yuelon. Among the 4 disciples of the Immortal Weapon City, only Qin Yun and Jian Ruyan passed the first round. The other 2 lost. Bao Changsho chuckled and said to Qin Yun and Jian Ruyan, "If you can reach the end and obtain an immortal origin, I will reward you handsomely." "What reward?" Qin Yun said with a smile. "I'll keep it a secret for now." Bao Changsho chuckled and said, "You guys work hard." Jian Ruyan said, "There are too many strong enemies. It won't be easy to reach the end." Qin Yun said, "If we don't change the rules and only have initial stage Spirit Martial Realm martial artists compete together, you still have a high chance of reaching the end." Jian Ruyan sighed and said, "If I were late stage Spirit Martial Realm, I would definitely be confident. Those immortal disciples, devil disciples and evil disciples are all late-stage Spirit Martial Realm. Only you, a freak, have such terrifying power even though you are clearly at the initial stage Spirit Martial Realm. Xiao Yuelon is also at the middle stage Spirit Martial Realm. Her strength is definitely stronger." Qin Yun looked at Xiao Yuelon, who was not far away, and said with a smile, "Looks like only Xiao Yuelon can be my opponent here." After Jian Nanhu heard this, he immediately ran over and said, "Qin Yun, what do you mean by that? Are you looking down on me? To tell you the truth, if you meet me or Xiao Yuelon, there is only one outcome, and that is defeat." Qin Yun said mercilessly. "Bullshit." Jian Nanhu said in a very bad mood, "The current me has an immortal body." Qin Yun did not think much of it, because an immortal disciple is nothing special to him. His heavenly lion Xian body is already very strong, and he is also in the process of cultivating his immortal body. Although he did not cultivate an immortal body, the strength of his body has also increased. In the afternoon, the second round began. Qin Yun is in the first round. His opponent is also a devil disciple from one of the 5 great devil sects, the 10,000 Poison Valley. He is a poison expert. Chapter 683. Snake Soul of All Poisons. Qin Yun's opponent is a famous devil disciple of the 10,000 Poison Valley. His name is Bai Duzi. His martial soul was a black poisonous snake. It was said that this poisonous snake could absorb all kinds of poisons and store them. During battle, Baiduzi Viper could control which poison to release, or release all of the poisons. When Qin Yun walked up the battle stage, he also saw Baiduzi walking up. It was a tall and strong youth. Although he had a demon body, he didn't look that scary. With a demon body, one's skin, flesh, and bones would be stronger. This was especially true when one was attacked by a weapon. However, no matter how strong the demon body was, it would still be difficult to resist a powerful attack. Qin Yun's attack contained the power of concussions. It was not something a fiend body could withstand. Baiduzi's expression is calm, he did not speak. He just stood there and quietly looked at Qin Yun. Qin Yun also carefully looked at Baiduzi. He discovered that both of his hands are purple in color. Furthermore, they are emitting a kind of multicolored luster. They look rather scary. Everyone could see that Baiduzi's hands were definitely poisoned. Is this fellow really impervious to poison? Qin Yun thought to himself. Little Yun, don't be afraid of this guy. Your heavenly lion Xian body can also resist most of the poison, plus I will use the power of Nether Sun to defend. There will definitely be no problem. Ling Yun said. When Qin Yun heard Ling Yun-er's words, he was relieved. Baiduzi looks very confident. He is not the least bit afraid of Qin Yun. He was from the 16th group and had seen how Qin Yun killed Ling Huan from the bloodthirsty sect. However, he was not afraid of Qin Yun now. One had to know that the other devil sect's devil disciples were more or less afraid of competing with Qin Yun because Qin Yun was truly very strong. The disciples of the Devil Desolate Land knew very well what level Ling Huan was at, but he was killed by Qin Yun in an instant. The middle-aged referee shouted, "Are you ready?" Qin Yun and Baiduzi nodded their heads. After they were ready, the middle-aged referee also shouted, "The competition begins." From the beginning, Qin Yun and Baiduzi, who were on the battling platform, suddenly disappeared. Even the middle-aged referee was stunned by this scene. The fact that Baiduzi also had the ability to suddenly disappear made everyone exclaim in surprise. What's with the two of them? Playing hide-and-seek? Come out and fight. How long are you going to hide? These two fellows truly have many tricks up their sleeves. Those who really wanted to see the martial arts competition began to shout and shout. Qin Yun used the mysterious penetration divine ability and hid under the battle stage. He can sense that Baiduzi is still in the sky above the battle stage. That guy must have suddenly become invisible. Qin Yun cursed in low voice. I really didn't expect him to use this kind of method. The reason why he can become transparent, is it because of his martial spirit? Ling Yun said, a guy who uses poison like him needs to conceal his strength to be able to poison others. Qin Yun said with a smile, I am also very good at concealment. Why don't I get rid of that guy's viper martial spirit and see how much poison it has? It will be convenient for me to deal with others in the future. I can give it a try. Ling Yun laughed. You go out, then I will use gravity to deal with him. After Qin Yun flew out, Ling Yun-er's supergravity also made sure to turn transparent Baiduzi. Baiduzi, who had turned transparent, was also beaten back to his original form, and smashed to the ground by the supergravity. Just as Qin Yun was about to go over, he saw black gas surging out of Baiduzi's body. Within the black gas there was a black liquid. It's poisonous blood. Someone shouted. Qin Yun was caught off guard. His body was enveloped by the black gas and blood, causing his face to be covered in blood. The most frightening thing is that after Qin Yun's skin came into contact with the black blood, it began to emit black smoke and melt bit by bit. It is very frightening. Ha ha ha! Baiduzi slowly crawled up and laughed loudly. Qin Yun, you are finished. You've been poisoned by my most powerful poisons. Apart from me, no one can save you. Qin Yun's body was emitting black smoke and his skin was rotting. It looked extremely serious. Bao Changshu shouted from below. Qin Yun, quickly admit defeat and let us help you suppress the poison power. Baiduzi proudly smiled and said, "Even if you join hands, it was impossible to suppress it. Only I can completely cure his poison. Of course, he won't die. He has a Xian body and his recovery ability is quite good. My poison is constantly corroding his skin and flesh while he is recovering. Just thinking about this process over and over again makes people feel pain." Xiao Yuelan is also competing in martial arts. Her opponent is an immortal disciple, and she defeated him in an instant. That immortal disciple was worried that he would be killed, so he quickly admitted defeat and survived. After she walked down the battle platform, she looked at Qin Yun. She also heard about Qin Yun's matter, but she is not too worried. Because Qin Yun has Yang Shi Yu's little jade rabbit, a strange beast that can absorb many poisons. "What do you want?" Qin Yun looked at Baiduzi and asked coldly. Earlier, Baiduzi had many opportunities to attack, but he did not manage to defeat Qin Yun in an instant. "Qin Yun, although there are no antidotes for the poisons in your body, they can allow you to live for 3 months. Within 3 months, let Yang Shi Yu bring the Star Lord inscription spirit to me in exchange for the antidote." Baiduzi is even more proud. The other people who want to obtain the Star Lord inscription spirit all have faces full of admiration. In this way, if Qin Yun wants to live, he will have to find Yang Shi Yu. "Qin Yun, just obediently admit defeat now. If you are injured by me, you won't have enough strength to resist my poisons." When Baiduzi saw Qin Yun standing there, he laughed sinisterly and said, "If you want to live, then become my slave." At this moment, the 10,000 Poison Valleys sect master walked over. He is a brown-haired old man, his hands are also purple. He looked at Bao Changshu and said with a proud smile, "Even I can't cure the poison that Qin Yun is poisoned with. Only the antidote condensed by Baiduzi's own viper martial spirit can cure it." Bao Changshu said in a deep voice, "Your 10,000 Poison Valley is still the same, always using this kind of despicable trick to threaten others." The 10,000 Poison Valleys sect master said with a smile, "As long as the goal is achieved, why should we care about what methods we use?" The skin and flesh on Qin Yun's face is constantly rotting, then recovering and rotting again. This process caused many people to feel endless fear. Especially some of the female disciples of the Sword Immortal Pavilion, they all turned their heads away, they could not bear to continue watching. Jian Ruyan secretly looked at Xiao Yuelan, who is not far away, and discovered that she seems to be fine, she is not worried at all. This couple is really strange. Her husband is already in such a miserable state, but she doesn't look worried at all. Jian Ruyan groaned in her heart. She also could not bear to look at Qin Yun now. Long Qiaofeng also slightly closed her eyes. Qin Yun's miserable state is indeed unbearable to look at. Qin Yun suddenly said, "Your poison is very powerful. But that's all. With your strength, it's not enough to defeat me. Although you have a devil body, you are a very weak idiot." "Qin Yun, what do you mean by this? Don't tell me you don't want to cure the poison?" Baiduzi said with a cold smile, "You want to defeat me?" "Defeat you? No, I want to kill you." As soon as Qin Yun finished speaking, tree claws surged out from the ground and wrapped around Baiduzi's legs. After Qin Yun approached, Ling Yuner also released supergravity. Baiduzi, who wanted to escape, was fiercely pressed down. Black poisonous blood splashed out from his body and once again stuffed into Qin Yun's body. Qin Yun did not deliberately block the poisonous blood. He ruthlessly struck Baiduzi's chest with his palm and tore apart his heart. The vibrating power that he released was extremely powerful. It also rushed into Baiduzi's throat, causing him to be unable to speak. Qin Yun promptly released a black gas that enveloped him and Baiduzi. Then, as the black gas enveloped them, he quickly extracted Baiduzi's Viper martial spirit and Dao core. "Qin Yun, quickly stop. If you kill him, you won't be able to cure the poison in your body. When the 10,000 poison sect master saw this scene, he anxiously shouted. No one expected that Qin Yun would be so reckless as to injure the only person who has the antidote, Bai Duzi. After the black gas disappeared, everyone saw that Bai Duzi is incomparably weak. His eyes are filled with fear and pain and his face is already distorted. You want to use this kind of poison to exchange for the Star Lord inscription spirit? You are too naive. Qin Yun raised his palm and unleashed Extinction Dragon 5 palms and ruthlessly slapped forward. The moment the Extinction Dragon palm was unleashed, thunder and lightning accompanied by berserk dragons jumped out. The momentum was vast and the sound it set off is like the despairing and sorrowful cries of 10,000 dragons. Boom! After Qin Yun's palm landed on Bai Duzi's face, Bai Duzi's head disappeared without a trace and turned into a black mist. Bang! Qin Yun's second palm landed. The Extinction Dragon palm infused with overwhelming righteous energy struck the devil body filled with evil power and instantly turned it into ashes. Bai Duzi has been killed by Qin Yun, and Qin Yun's body is still emitting black smoke. His skin is constantly being corroded. Qin Yun wins. The middle-aged referee quickly shouted. After Qin Yun walked down the battle stage, Bao Changshu quickly walked over, wanting to suppress the poison power. However, Qin Yun said, "Sect Master, don't touch me or you will also be poisoned. Take me to a quiet place, I have a way to cure the poison." 10,000 poison valleys, 10,000 poison sect master shouted angrily at Qin Yun. "Qin Yun, you are dead for sure. No one will be able to cure your poison. Listen up, even if I die, I will never let you bunch of things obtain the inscription spirit," Qin Yun said coldly. "Qin Yun, follow me," Jian Nanhu said. "I'll take you to a quiet place." Qin Yun followed Jian Nanhu and quickly arrived at an underground stone room near the plaza. He entered the underground secret room alone. "Xiao Yun, do you want to let the Nether Sun martial spirit fuse with the Viper martial spirit?" Ling Yun said with a charming smile. "This way, the Viper martial spirit can absorb the poison power from your body. Alright, let's give it a try. Try not to trouble the little jade rabbit," Qin Yun said with a smile. After Qin Yun extracted Bai Duzi's Viper martial spirit, he sealed it in the Nether Sun martial spirit. Chapter 684. Do you want to become stronger? The devil sects like the Inscription Palace and Totem Pavilion thought that their disciples would be able to easily rush to the front. But now they realized that the other sects were also full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Originally, they only cared about Jian Nanhu's strength. Now, the power displayed by Qin Yun and Xiao Yuelan is very strong. In this way, their disciples would have to face 3 strong enemies. After Qin Yun defeated Bai Duzi, the other disciples of Group 15 were all scared witless because their strength was not much stronger than Bai Duzi and Ling Huan. As for Ling Huan and Bai Duzi, they were killed by Qin Yun. If this went on, even if they didn't die, the consequences would definitely be very tragic if they were to fight Qin Yun. Qin Yun, who has not stepped into the middle stage of the spirit martial realm, is still very terrifying. Previously, everyone believed that Qin Yun had other methods to kill immortal disciples in Devil Martial Island. And through the 2 matches, Qin Yun truly possessed formidable strength. Many elders of the sects felt that it was unbelievable. This is because Qin Yun does not have an immortal body and his cultivation is only at the initial stage of the spirit martial realm. However, the power he wields exceeds that of an immortal disciple at the late stage of the spirit martial realm. This was too abnormal. Qin Yun was still in seclusion in the secret chamber to detoxify the poison, while the people outside were still discussing Qin Yun. Qin Yun should have the bloodline of a heavenly lion. His body must be very strong. Originally, he had 2 martial spirits, but now, he can only detect a single martial spirit. What is going on? Tu Tiandi's purple hair was blown messily by the wind, but he didn't bother to tidy it up. His expression was grave as he pondered over this matter. It seems like he has mastered a special method to make his body very strong. You must know that there is an immortal in the Immortal Weapon Palace. Furthermore, that immortal is extremely protective of Qin Yun. According to the information I obtained, Qin Yun often enters the Immortal Weapon Palace Hall to receive pointers from that immortal. When General Manager Yi of the Divine Inscription Palace mentioned this matter, his face was also filled with jealousy. Getting pointers from immortals is something they yearn for even in their dreams. Many people have been stuck at half immortal for many years without being able to break through. Therefore, the guidance of an immortal was especially important. Therefore, Bao Changshu is very protective of Qin Yun because he knows that the relationship between Qin Yun and Bing Xing is not simple. At this moment, the disciples of the various sects all knew that Qin Yun possessed the Heavenly Lion Totem and Heavenly Lion Bloodline. However, they had rarely seen Qin Yun use this power. This caused those disciples to exclaim in surprise again and again. That's because Qin Yun had clearly concealed this aspect of his strength. Qin Yun has been poisoned, he will definitely die. What use is the Heavenly Lion Bloodline? The 10,000 Poison Sect Master cursed in a low voice. This bastard killed Bai Duzi, he will die miserably. When Bao Changshu heard this, he immediately said with a sneer, Bai Duzi deserved to die. Who asked him to threaten Qin Yun? Don't you guys understand? If you want to obtain the Star Lord Inscription Spirit, then go find Yang Shiyu. If you want to have any ideas about Qin Yun, then only death awaits you. Bao Changshu's words shocked many powerhouses. Especially those factions that once wanted to take down Qin Yun, they all suffered greatly because of this. That woman, Yang Shiyu, what right does she have to grasp the Star Lord Inscription Spirit? That belongs to all of us. No matter what method we use, I must obtain it. The 10,000 Poison Sect Master said angrily. Then prepare to die. Bao Changshu said. At this moment, Qin Yun and Jian Nanhu returned. Qin Yun acted as if nothing had happened. He even changed into a set of clean white clothes and walked over with a smile. He is very happy because after fusing with the Viper Martial Spirit, he will be able to use many poisons in the future. When the 10,000 Poison Sect Master saw Qin Yun arrive, he is alarmed and furious. Bai Duzi's poison has actually been detoxified. The disciples of the 10,000 Poison Valley all felt that this is impossible. They all know very well how terrifying Bai Duzi's poison is. Qin Yun did not need the help of a half-immortal to detoxify himself. This is inconceivable. Seeing that Qin Yun is fine, Bao Changshu also felt relieved. Qin Yun, although you won again, don't be complacent. Once you meet me, you will definitely taste the taste of defeat. Jian Nanhu said with a laugh. He saw that Qin Yun's strength is not weak and is very happy. Previously, he was worried that Qin Yun would be eliminated in an instant. Now, he no longer has to worry. Several martial arts battles are taking place on the battle platforms. Jian Ruyan also won, but it was very strenuous for her to win. It is becoming more and more difficult. Little sister Yen, if you continue like this, I'm afraid you won't be able to last past tomorrow morning. Jian Nanhu saw that Jian Ruyan is injured and said with a frown. Being able to pass one round is one round. In any case, our Immortal Weapon City still has Qin Yun to support us. Jian Ruyan has also accepted her fate. As matters stand, she can only accept the truth. She is in the 13th group. Next, she will face Immortal Disciples and Devil Disciples. Being able to pass 2 rounds today is already very good. After the afternoon round, half of the people in each group were eliminated. Qin Yun's 15th group only has 1 evil disciple and 2 immortal disciples left. It must be said that compared to immortal disciples, devil disciples are still much weaker. In the evening, the people from the major powers all brought their disciples back to rest. Brother Yun, you might run into that evil disciple tomorrow morning. Jianrian said, that guy won all the way, it was also very easy for him. Qin Yun is in the hall, communicating with Jianrian and others. Today, they are also helping to pay attention to the other opponent. How is Jian Nanhu's strength? Qin Yun asked. I didn't pay much attention to his martial arts competition. He is also very strong. All his opponents were defeated within 10 moves. Even immortal disciples were defeated. Yu Bufeng said. Bao Changsho said with a smile. Qin Yun, whether or not our immortal weapon city can obtain a second immortal origin will depend on you. If Qin Yun obtained first place, he would also be rewarded with a divine ability. In addition, he would also be able to obtain an immortal origin. That is something even more precious than a divine ability. All of you should go back. The martial arts competition tomorrow morning will definitely be even more difficult, Bao Changsho said. The disciples also went back one after another. Jianrian's room is right beside Qin Yun's. She went back together with Qin Yun. While walking on the road, she lowered her head in a sullen manner. Little sister Yen, why are you so unhappy? Qin Yun said with a chuckle. I'm the weakest one. I definitely won't have a chance in tomorrow morning's competition. Jianrian curled her lips and sighed. This can't be blamed on anyone. It's mainly because I didn't work hard enough. That's not it either. It's mainly because your cultivation is slightly low. Qin Yun said. Your cultivation is lower than mine, but you're stronger than me. When Jianrian thought of this matter, she felt even more sad. Qin Yun suddenly thought of a way. His eyes lit up and he said with a smile, Little sister Yen, I have a way to make you stronger. It's just that I'm not sure if it will succeed or not. If it doesn't work, just treat it as an experiment. What method? Jianrian said with a frown. Let's talk in secret. Qin Yun said in a low voice and looked around. Come to my room. Jianrian thought for a moment and quickly pulled Qin Yun into her room. Qin Yun said with a smile. If others find out that I'm in your room, it won't be good. Jianrian coldly snorted and said, What's there to be afraid of? Quickly tell me what method can make me stronger. There's a certain amount of danger. I've never tried it before. Qin Yun said. Quickly tell me. Jianrian can't wait any longer. It's to carve sword totem on your martial spirit. Not only that, you also have to carve sword totem runes on your arms. If there's enough time, it would be best to carve totems inside your bones. Qin Yun's expression became solemn. I'm guessing that the reason why Jian Nanhu suddenly possessed an immortal body should be because of the sword totem. After Jianrian heard this, she is extremely shocked. Brother Yun, you have mastered sword totem runes? Of course. Qin Yun smiled. Why do you have so many totems? Jianrian is a disciple of the Jian family. She knows very well that sword totem runes are extremely rare and very difficult to master. Even in the Sword Immortal Pavilion and the Jian family, there are only a few inscription masters who can carve sword totem runes. Qin Yun's sword totem was obtained from Jian Nanhu's Dao sword. Mo, that little fairy, very easily made it and then let Qin Yun master it. When Qin Yun was in the Sun and Moon spacetime realm, he had a lot of time to familiarize himself with sword totem runes. Little sister Yen, you should have sword blood inheritance and sword martial spirit. The only thing you lack is sword totem. If everything goes smoothly, once these three appear, you will be able to condense sword Xian body. After that, absorb a large amount of immortal power to temper your body, and you will be able to cultivate an immortal body. Are you willing to give it a try? Qin Yun previously experimented on Long Xiaofeng's body and allowed her to smoothly comprehend the heavenly dragon's secret art. Now, he has the opportunity to experiment again. If he can make Jian Rian stronger, then it will prove that his theory is useful. Brother Yun, why do you look even more excited than me? Are you using me as an experiment? Jian Rian asked. Sort of. If it succeeds, I will also be able to greatly improve in this aspect. Qin Yun rubbed his hands and said with a smile, If you agree, then hurry up and start. It would be best if you can finish it tomorrow morning. Come on. Jian Rian gritted her teeth and agreed. Qin Yun promptly took out the mental resonance Xian pen. He only hates that he doesn't have a totem inscription spirit. Otherwise, carving totem runes would be very easy. Fortunately, he is sufficiently familiar with sword totem. Little sister Yen, do you need to carve sword totem in all aspects or only on martial spirit? Qin Yun asked. What's the difference? Jian Rian is also slightly excited. She has longed for sword totem for a very long time. In the Jian family, they need to queue up to get the totem runes carved. Every year, they can only help one disciple carve sword totem. If the inscription master has something to do, they will have to wait for a few more years. And Jian Rian has to wait for more than 200 years. Carving in all aspects means carving inside your skin, flesh and bones, allowing your body and sword totem to fuse into one. This is very likely to allow you to cultivate Xian body. Chapter 685. Initial formation of sword body. When Jian Rian heard Qin Yun's words, she let her imagination run wild. She also thought of the scene of Qin Yun carving totem runes on her. Little sister Yen, if you can't accept it, then just carve on your arm and martial spirit. Qin Yun saw that Jian Rian is deep in thought and quickly said, Are you sure this will allow me to cultivate Xian body? Jian Rian is a very strong woman. If she is unable to get first place in the group this time, she would definitely be laughed at by the Jian family and the Sword Immortal Pavilion. Especially many people would question her decision to choose the Immortal Weapon City and also mock her choice. She is unable to accept this fact. Furthermore, in the upcoming competition, she will also meet the immortal disciples of the Sword Immortal Pavilion. This is only my hypothesis. I can't guarantee that you will be able to cultivate Xian body. Qin Yun said, What I can guarantee is that it will make you stronger. The reason why I am so strong is because of the Heavenly Lion Totem. Jian Rian knows very well that in this martial arts tournament, she will be facing immortal disciples and devil disciples. Especially the devil disciples of Totem Pavilion, they are the most terrifying and possess totems. Although she has 2 swords, she is still too weak. Little sister Yen, when I carve a totem on your body, it will definitely not be like Totem Pavilions, it will definitely be colorful. My totem will fuse into your flesh and bones, it will not appear on the surface. Qin Yun said with a proud smile. This is something that can only be done with superb skill. Jian Rian is pondering. She looked at Qin Yun and asked, Brother Yun, have you done this kind of thing before? What is the specific effect? To be honest, I carved a dragon totem on Long Xiaofeng's martial spirit, allowing her to comprehend a dragon totem martial art. She is very strong now, but in order to not be discovered by the Long family, she deliberately did not fight. Qin Yun said with a mischievous smile. Humph, I knew that you guys had some shameful deal in secret. Jian Rian lightly snorted and said, I trust you, so you have to keep this a secret. Otherwise, you will cause Xiaofeng's death. Qin Yun warned solemnly. I'm not that kind of woman who talks too much. Jian Rian let out a long sigh. I'm willing to let you try. If you mess around on the way, I'll tell your wife. After Qin Yun heard this, he forced a smile and said, This is a very scary threat. Jian Rian did not immediately start, she first went to take a bath. Why are you taking a bath? Hurry up! Qin Yun immediately shouted. I'll wash up a bit, in case you say I'm a bitch. Jian Rian was very concerned about this matter. Actually, she wanted to take a bath because she wanted to take the opportunity to relax. After Jian Rian took a bath, she did not wear any clothes. She directly walked out and laid on the bed. Qin Yun's eyes were very natural, but his heartbeat sped up. Qin Yun, is my chest really not as big as Long Xiaofeng's? Jian Rian is lying on the bed and asked coldly. It's about the same. Don't ask too many questions or I will be distracted. Qin Yun curled his lips and said, Little sister Yen, look at my pair of eyes that don't have any evil thoughts. I don't have any other thoughts towards you. I don't think you would dare. Jian Rian smiled. If you dare, I'll tell your wife and you're dead for sure. Qin Yun cursed Jian Rian in his heart. He never expected her to be so open about this kind of matter. Little sister Yen, let me warn you first, don't use this matter to threaten me in the future. I'm helping you increase your strength. Don't bully an honest person like me. Qin Yun held the mental resonance Xian pen and very seriously began carving the sword totem on Jian Rian's body. Jian Rian looked at the incomparably serious Qin Yun and secretly admired his mental fortitude. Although she doesn't understand runes, she knows that when carving totem runes, an inscription master must be very focused. And in this kind of situation, Qin Yun is able to carve the totem without any distracting thoughts. Ling Yuner said with a charming smile in Qin Yun's illusory space, Xiao Yun, this woman can be taken down. This is a good opportunity, don't waste it. Yuner, don't instigate me to do bad things. Qin Yun said very seriously, I, Qin Yun, am a gentleman. What a pity. Jian Rian must have accepted you in her heart, that's why she was willing to agree to such a thing. Otherwise, she wouldn't even show you her navel. Ling Yuner lightly snorted and said, I am experienced and knowledgeable, what kind of woman have I not seen? Just like that, Qin Yun concentrated for the entire night. He was busy carving the sword totem for Jian Rian. He doesn't know how many sets he has carved. In short, what he wants to do is to fuse the sword totem into every inch of Jian Rian's body. Carving the sword totem on the martial spirit is easy, but carving it on the body is very difficult. After daybreak, Qin Yun finished. He sat on the ground in exhaustion. Jian Rian now truly believes that Qin Yun does not have any evil intentions towards her, because Qin Yun did not touch her at all. He only used the mental resonance Xian pen to gently touch the surface of her skin. Jian Rian picked up her clothes and looked at Qin Yun, who was sitting on the ground. She smiled coldly. Brother Yun, you were so serious when carving last night. You probably didn't look carefully, right? Do you want to look enough now? Qin Yun immediately closed his eyes and said, I want to rest. Go feel the sword totem yourself. You're really a man who's afraid of his wife. Jian Rian laughed and slowly put on her clothes. Then, she touched Qin Yun's cheek. Brother Yun, I suddenly like you a little. If I have the chance in the future, I'll go ask Xiao Yuelon and see if she's willing to accept me. Jian Rian, I really didn't expect you to be so coquettish. Qin Yun never expected that this usually fierce and ice-cold tigress would actually have such a forthright and coquettish side. Jian Rian sat on the bed and said excitedly, I feel that I've already cultivated my sword Xian body. It's really strange. She clenched her fists tightly as sword power surged out from her body. It is very powerful. Looks like my idea is correct. Qin Yun is also very happy as he said, Brother Yun, your level of inscription has already surpassed those few old antiques of our Jian family. Jian Rian is very certain of this matter and said, Try it on Xiaofeng's body later. Maybe you can let her cultivate the dragon Xian body and make her even more devoted to you. Qin Yun opened his eyes and said with a smile, What are you talking about? Nothing. Jian Rian curled her lips. Dong dong dong. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Ruyan, quickly come out and prepare for the martial arts competition. Bao Changshu said. When Qin Yun saw Jian Rian walk over to open the door, he promptly used mysterious penetration divine ability and passed through the wall to return to his room and then walked out. Sect Master, you're really early, Qin Yun greeted with a smile. Jian Rian also did not expect Qin Yun to move so quickly. He returned to his room in an instant and even ran behind Bao Changshu. Qin Yun did this because he did not want Bao Changshu to see him in Jian Rian's room, so that he wouldn't think too much. Let's go. Jian Rian walked out of the room, looked at Qin Yun and asked, Have you rested enough? Last night, Qin Yun busied himself with her for the entire night and consumed a lot of energy. She is somewhat worried that Qin Yun's condition is not good enough. Enough, Qin Yun said. Jian Rian's current condition is also extremely good. Moreover, she is very excited and agitated. Especially when she sensed the power of her Xian body, she felt as if her blood is boiling. She wished that she could kill to her heart's content. Rian, your condition is pretty good. I hope you can get a good result today. Bao Changshu also saw that Jian Rian is somewhat different and said with a happy smile. Definitely. Jian Rian must win no matter what. Otherwise, she would let down Qin Yun's exhaustion for an entire night. Bao Changshu and his group arrived at the plaza. As soon as they arrived, Jian Rian jumped onto the battle platform. Yesterday afternoon, they had already drawn lots. She is the first match. And in the afternoon match, most of the groups only have 2 people left. It is also the final match of the group, where the last person will be decided. Qin Yun is the second match. He can now carefully observe Jian Rian's strength. Xiao Yuelan is also nearby. She sent a sound transmission to Qin Yun. Xiao Yun, Jian Rian's strength suddenly increased by a lot. What's going on? Qin Yun replied with a smile. I carved a sword totem for her. I was busy for the entire night. Soon after, he told Xiao Yuelan about last night's matter without holding anything back. After Xiao Yuelan heard this, she giggled and said, Xiao Yun, you might be entangled by her in the future. Yuelan, you won't be jealous, right? Qin Yun said somewhat worriedly. What's there to be jealous about? Xiao Yuelan said with a charming smile. You told me about this, are you afraid that she'll use it to threaten you? Yuelan, what do you think of her current strength? Qin Yun is also unable to see through Jian Rian's strength. Very strong. I'm not too sure about the specifics, Xiao Yuelan said. If there's a chance, I'll spar with her. Now, Jian Rian's opponent is an immortal disciple of the sword Immortal Pavilion. That immortal disciple is also a sword cultivator and can condense an origin sword. However, he is not a disciple of the Jian family. His name is Sun Taikai and he was born with a Xian body. Later on, he evolved into an immortal body. However, many half-immortals of the sword Immortal Pavilion joined hands to forge an immortal body for him. Little sister Yen, your father said that as long as I defeat you, I can marry you, Sun Taikai said with a smile. Sun Taikai is as tall as Jian Rian. He is dressed in white and has a handsome face. He looks like a talented person with a graceful bearing. However, Jian Rian was able to capture that evil thought in Sun Taicai's eyes. Last night, she was staring at Qin Yun's eyes the entire time, but she never saw that kind of evil thought in Qin Yun's eyes. When Sun Taikai in front of her saw her wearing tight clothes and her exquisite curves, he revealed that kind of evil thought. Therefore, she immediately felt disgusted. In comparison, it made her admire Qin Yun even more. That's what my father said. If you really defeat me, then let my father marry you. I won't accompany you. Jian Rian's words caused many people to burst into laughter. Don't tell me you don't like me? I am an immortal disciple. There are at least 8,000 women who want to marry me, if not 10,000. Sun Taikai is somewhat angry. Why don't you just go marry those women? Jian Rian said coldly. I understand. You must have taken a fancy to Qin Yun. Sun Taikai suddenly said, and then looked at Qin Yun below the battle stage. Chapter 686. 1,000-year-old immortal disciple. When Jian Rian heard this, she immediately became unhappy and said, "Brother Hu, even if this guy defeats me, I won't look at him. Didn't you say it before? If you want to become an expert, you must be alone your entire life. Right, it's very good that you have this kind of awareness," Jian Nanhu promptly said. Then, he glanced at Qin Yun, who was not far away, and secretly despised him. Sun Taikai said with sneer, "Little sister Yen, your father's words are not a joke. You can't make the decision for the wedding banquet." When Jian Ruyan heard this, she laughed loudly. "Why can't I make the decision? I have formidable strength. As long as I defeat you, I will be able to make the decision. In that case, if I win against you, you will marry me?" Sun Taitsai's face immediately revealed a look of joy. "I respect my father. Since he promised me this, I will not disobey him," Jian Rian said coldly. "Therefore, I will definitely not lose to you." Sun Taikai is wild with joy because he feels that he can definitely defeat Jian Rian. Everyone knows that Jian Rian does not have an immortal body. Just based on this point, as long as one is an immortal disciple, they can easily defeat her. Although Sun Taikai is dissolute and has seen countless women, he has gradually lost interest in those prostitutes who throw themselves at him. Only a woman like Jian Rian can make him have a strong desire to conquer her. Jian Rian also saw Sun Taitsai's eyes that are filled with the desire to conquer evil domain. She understands what Sun Taikai is thinking. This made her feel even more disgusted. She looked at Qin Yun below the battle stage, and suddenly felt that Qin Yun is truly too good. Especially in the situation last night, when he looked at her beautiful body for an entire night, he did not have any evil thoughts. She suddenly felt somewhat sad because Qin Yun already has a wife and she is incomparably outstanding. Jian Rian no longer paid any attention to Sun Taikai. Instead, she closed her eyes and adjusted her mood. A moment later, Jian Rian and Sun Taikai are also ready. The old referee on the battle stage shouted, "Begin!" Jian Shirtian, a few sword immortal pavilions, half immortals, and many martial kings and martial emperors are very seriously watching the battle between Jian Rian and Sun Taikai. At the start of the fight, Sun Taitsai's body overflowed with a white mist and condensed into a pale golden origin sword. It emitted a burst of whistling sound and pierced towards Jian Rian's shoulder. Jian Rian's delicate body swayed and easily dodged Sun Taitsai's continuous thrusts. What is surprising is that Jian Rian actually did not release her origin sword and mental sword. Qin Yun seems to be able to understand Jian Rian's thoughts. If Jian Rian can defeat Sun Taikai without using a sword, then she will be able to display her formidable strength and experience the power brought by the sword totem. Jian Rian has a sword Xian body. This kind of Xian body that is compatible with her martial spirit and totem is the most powerful. You have the heavenly lion Xian body, and you should be able to experience it. Ling Yuner said. Yes. She also wants to borrow this competition to adapt to this kind of formidable power, Qin Yun said with smile. Not only that, she may be entering a higher realm, which is the unity of man and sword. As for what kind of realm it is, I'm not sure. Ling Yuner said. I only know that if she can do it, then when she uses the sword again, she will be even stronger. After Jian Rian cultivated the sword Xian body, she can control her body even more freely. It is as if she is controlling a sword. Sun Taikai instantly stabbed hundreds of times, but they were all dodged by Jian Rian. The battle stage is filled with the sword images of Sun Taitsai's light golden longsword. It looks like it has enveloped Jian Rian, but no matter what, it is unable to stab her. Grandfather, what's wrong with little sister Yen? Why do I feel that she has suddenly become a lot stronger? After Jian Nanhu saw this, he said in surprise, "I'm not sure either. I only know that this is not the Rian I'm familiar with." Jian Shitian's brows are tightly knitted. She has indeed become stronger. Furthermore, the hidden power is bottomless. Sun Taikai is also infuriated because Jian Ruyan did not use a sword, but she was able to block so many of his moves. From the looks of it, Jian Ruyan's movement technique is superior to his. In theory, a person with an immortal body would have a great advantage in terms of control over their body and the use of their power. However, this requires high-intensity cultivation in order to reach the pinnacle state. It is a very arduous and painful process. To those noble immortal disciples, their strength far surpasses those of the same level, so they don't pursue the pinnacle. And Jian Ruyan has always been working hard to pursue the pinnacle. Now that she has cultivated the sword Xian body that is perfectly compatible with her, she can immediately unleash the power of the sword Xian body. Although she has not reached the pinnacle, she is much stronger than Sun Taikai. Sun Taikai bellowed furiously. His light golden longsword suddenly flashed with golden light. Heaven slaughtering sword art. Heaven tier high-grade martial art. Jian Nanhu's expression immediately turned grave. Little sister Yen is about to be injured. Sun Taitsai's sword thrust released a golden light. That power is heavy and impactful. It enveloped Jian Ruyan's body, causing her movements to slow down by a lot. Seeing Sun Taitsai's sword, all the disciples of the Sword Immortal Pavilion exclaimed in admiration and burst into cheers. After all, this is a very beautiful attack. Especially those elders, they all nodded their heads in praise, believing that Jian Ruyan will lose without a doubt. At this moment, Jian Ruyan is enveloped by the golden light. It is difficult for her to dodge quickly. Just as the sword ruthlessly thrusted over, Jian Ruyan's hand that has been blocking in front of her strangely stretched out. She used 2 fingers to clamp the tip of Sun Taitsai's sword. Sun Taikai unleashed a Tian-tier martial art and condensed an extremely strong power to thrust his sword. However, it was actually clamped by Jian Ruyan's 2 slender fingers. This immediately caused everyone's jaws to drop to the ground in shock, especially the disciples of the Sword Immortal Pavilion and those seniors. They are well aware of Sun Taitsai's strength and the terror of the heaven-slaughtering sword art. But now, the sword that condensed a formidable power has been clamped by Jian Ruyan. "Break for me." Jian Ruyan smiled proudly. With a clang sound, Sun Taitsai's origin sword suddenly broke. "Little sister Yen, you. Sun Taitsai's origin sword was broken and he lost his weapon. His power also suddenly weakened. At this moment, Jian Ruyan summoned her black and white dual swords. Xiu. Jian Ruyan fiercely counterattacked. Her sword attack speed is actually much faster than Sun Taitsai's. In just a short blink of an eye, Sun Taitsai's body was stabbed more than a dozen times. The places that were not vital were all pierced by Jian Ruyan. His white clothes are also dyed red with blood. "If you don't admit defeat, I won't be polite anymore," Jian Ruyan said coldly. Sun Taikai is very unwilling. He promptly released a powerful Dao power that carried a faint immortal power and enveloped Jian Ruyan's body. "You forced me." Jian Ruyan's dual swords trembled and broke through that power. Then, she swiftly and violently stabbed forward. Swish, a few sword strikes. Sun Taitsai's arms were cut off and his heart was stabbed several times. "I admit defeat." Sun Taikai sensed Jian Ruyan's killing intent and promptly shouted. Everyone was dumbfounded by what they saw. Because Jian Ruyan does not have an immortal body, but she can easily defeat an immortal disciple. Many people paid attention to her 2 rounds of martial arts competition yesterday. Although she could win, it was rather difficult. And today, the Sun Taikai she faced is much stronger than the 2 devil disciples yesterday. Yet, he was still defeated. In just one night, Jian Ruyan's strength has increased by such a huge amount. Jian Ruyan did not even look at Sun Taikai. She turned around and walked down the stage. This Sun Taikai guy is actually also a fake. Jian Nanhu groaned and said, "To think that I wanted to defeat him back then. Now, he's only SOSO. Ruyan, let me check your situation." Jian Shirtian promptly walked over. "Not giving." Jian Ruyan promptly shouted. Jian Shirtian laughed and said, "All right. I'm also very happy that you can become stronger. Old ancestor, even brother who is not my match." Jian Ruyan said with a very confident smile. "None of your Sword Immortal Pavilion's spirit martial realm disciples are my match. Little girl, you're too arrogant." Jian Nanhu is very unconvinced. "If you don't believe me, then fight." Jian Ruyan defeated Sun Taikai and sensed the power brought by the sword Xian body. She felt as if she is invincible under the heavens. "We'll fight again in the future if we have the chance," Jian Shirtian said. It's Qin Yun's turn to go on stage. His opponent is the Medicine Immortal Valley's immortal disciple. The hatred between Qin Yun and the Medicine Immortal Valley has been deepening. Now, the Medicine Immortal Valley finally has the chance to take revenge on Qin Yun. The Medicine Immortal Valley's immortal disciple is a middle-aged man, so he gives off an even stronger feeling. However, many people are also very puzzled. As an immortal disciple, even though he is very old, he shouldn't look that old. The Medicine Immortal Valley's 1,000-year-old immortal disciple, although he is 1,000 years old, he is still in the spirit martial realm because he is cultivating a powerful mystical technique. Jian Nanhu said, "This 1,000-year-old immortal disciple is called Han Eli. Although he is middle-aged, he looks rather handsome. He is wearing dazzling golden clothes and his eyes under his thick eyebrows are filled with killing intent." After Qin Yun sensed the other party's aura, he immediately became secretly alarmed. "Yuner, what's going on with this guy? Why do I feel that he's so scary?" Qin Yun doesn't know why, but he has the urge to escape. This guy has cultivated immortal blood. No wonder he hasn't broken through for 1,000 years. He has spent all his energy cultivating immortal blood. There are several stages to the immortal body. Most of the immortal disciples have only cultivated a body that can absorb immortal energy. However, the most important immortal blood and immortal bone have not been cultivated yet. You need to reach Martial Emperor or half immortal to start. The guy in front of you has cultivated immortal blood. Also, he must have mastered some kind of cultivation technique. You have to be careful. He must be very strong. Ling Yuner is also very surprised. She never expected such a person to exist. Qin Yun immediately felt a great pressure. He felt that the strength of this guy in front of him is enough to rank in the top 5 of the martial arts tournament. Han Eli did not speak, he just looked at Qin Yun. Even though Qin Yun closed his eyes, he can still feel the intense killing intent from the other party. The preparation time passed very quickly. Begin. Han Eli did not attack. Instead, he clenched his fists and stood there. His body released a golden aura that filled the entire battle stage. Chapter 687. Waiting for counterattack. Han Eli saw Qin Yun's painful expression and smiled proudly. Then he slowly walked towards Qin Yun. The people outside the battle stage can't sense Qin Yun's current situation, so they are all extremely puzzled. Because according to the previous situation, once the battle started, Qin Yun would immediately attack. And now, Qin Yun is standing on the same spot motionless, his face is filled with pain. The strangest thing is that Han Eli slowly walked over. His face is filled with confidence and proud smile. Qin Yun can move, but he will definitely be very slow. He also doesn't understand why he is in so much pain. Xiao Yun, the power released by this guy is much stronger than you, so even the power of the Nether Sundao core is unable to withstand it. Ling Yuner said, "Why don't you admit defeat? I can't do anything now. What about releasing supergravity? Or devouring him?" Qin Yun looked at Han Eli approaching step by step and felt extremely nervous. No way. This guy has cultivated immortal blood. With his power, he can easily dissolve supergravity. You can't devour him because his cultivation is much higher than yours. If you don't do well, you might make a mistake and damage your body, unless he becomes weak. Ling Yuner said. Qin Yun is very unwilling in his heart because the fight has not started yet. You should know how strong I am. Han Eli walked over and said indifferently. You are indeed very strong. But there is nothing to be proud of. After all, you are more than 1,000 years old and I am only 20 years old. Qin Yun promptly moved. The battle stage is filled with a layer of faint golden light. When Qin Yun moved, he also felt that the golden light contains a very strange power. The faster he moved, the stronger the power he felt and the more pain his body felt. If he just stood in place, it might not be so painful. Qin Yun had only taken a few steps when he stopped. This kind of pain that penetrated into his bone marrow made him feel fear. This is my divine ability power, it is called suffering divine ability. Han Eli said with a proud smile. At this time, Medicine Immortal Valley's half-immortal said with a smile. Han Eli has cultivated immortal blood and his Dao core is also very strong. He can release a divine ability domain. People inside his domain will feel pain. Many sects half-immortals sighed in shock after hearing these words. Especially Bao Changsho, his expression is grave. He immediately shouted in a low voice. Qin Yun, quickly come down. Old ancestor, what's going on with cultivating immortal blood? Jian Ruyan is also very puzzled about this and promptly asked Jian Shitian. That is the second stage of immortal body. Generally, only martial emperor realm and half-immortal realm people who possess immortal body can begin to attack this stage. It is to use energy to constantly strengthen one's blood, allowing one's blood to produce immortal power. Jian Shitian said. The Medicine Immortal Valley's half-immortal chuckled and said, when Han Eli decided to do this, us seniors were all against it. But now it seems that what he did has a very good effect. Jian Nanhu clenched his fists tightly and said with a frown, this guy is truly a dark horse. Although I have heard of the 1,000-year immortal disciple, I did not expect him to be so terrifying. Even Qin Yun could only lose in front of him. Han Eli has a blue pain martial spirit. It belongs to the divine ability martial spirit, so he can use the pain divine ability. This kind of martial spirit is also very mystical. Jian Shitian said, Ahu, even you might lose to him. Han Eli stood in front of Qin Yun with a relaxed expression. He said with a sneer with incomparable contempt, Qin Yun, you were really awe-inspiring yesterday. Where did your awe-inspiring attitude go to now? As soon as he finished speaking, he punched Qin Yun in the face, sending Qin Yun flying into the barrier. Qin Yun's entire body is in pain. Even if he circulates his power, he will be weakened by the peculiar pain power. It will be difficult for him to concentrate and condense his power to counterattack. Han Eli shook his fist and said with a frown, I didn't expect that your body is actually pretty good. You don't have immortal energy on your body, but you have such a powerful body. It's definitely not an immortal body. Could it be the rare heavenly Xian body? Heavenly Xian body is a heavenly beast Xian body. It is also very strong. Don't tell me you cultivated the heavenly lion Xian body? After Han Eli walked over, he stomped on Qin Yun's back, causing Qin Yun to scream in pain. You have guts. You know you can't defeat me, but you refuse to admit defeat. Han Eli's expression suddenly turned sinister and said, Since that's the case, let me torture you. You are the #1 enemy of our Medicine Immortal Valley. The debt you owe our medicine Immortal Valley will definitely be repaid by you. Now let's collect some interest. Han Eli spoke and kicked Qin Yun crazily. Boom, boom, boom. Qin Yun was hit by Han Eli's formidable power from one side to the other. Every punch produced a rumbling sound, covering up Qin Yun's screams. This caused Totem Pavilion, Divine Inscription Palace, Medicine Immortal Valley and other powers that have enmity with Qin Yun to applaud and cheer endlessly. Every time Qin Yun was ruthlessly beaten, the people from those powers would burst into cheers. In just a moment, Qin Yun's head was broken and bleeding. He lay on the ground, gasping for breath. The tattered clothes on his body fused with his blurry flesh and blood. Qin Yun thoroughly understood what it means by there is heaven beyond heaven and there is always someone stronger. He has no choice but to admit that Han Eli's talent is very high and his strength is also very strong. Even a Xian martial realm martial monarch would end up like him. Ling Yun sighed lightly. Xiao Yun, I really can't help you. This guy's strength surpasses yours by too much. In an unarmed situation, you are not his match at all. Qin Yun, are you mute? You actually didn't admit defeat. Medicine Immortal Valley's half-immortal laughed proudly and shouted, a lie, continue torturing him. I want to see how unyielding this guy is. Soon after, those powers that have enmity with Qin Yun continued to cheer. Jian Rian and Long Xiaofeng felt very pained watching this. They looked at Xiao Yuelan, who was not far away, several times, hoping that she would call Qin Yun down. Xiao Yuelan's expression is also very ice-cold. She kept looking at Qin Yun on the battle stage. She also knows that Qin Yun has been completely crushed, but she believes that Qin Yun will definitely have a way to counterattack. Yuelan, quickly tell Qin Yun to come down. Hu Jingxian suddenly walked to Xiao Yuelan's side and transmitted her voice to her. At this time, Jian Rian and Long Xiaofeng also transmitted their voice to Xiao Yuelan, telling her to tell Qin Yun to admit defeat. However, Xiao Yuelan is indifferent, she only calmly looked at Qin Yun. Bao Changshu, Yu Bufeng and Jian Nanhu are also constantly shouting from below, telling Qin Yun to quickly admit defeat because if this continues, he will be destroyed. Qin Yun, why is he so stubborn? Previously at the entrance of the Immortal Weapon Palace, he refused to compete with me no matter what. He is not afraid of others laughing at him for being weak, but now, he is stubbornly holding on just to vent his anger. Jian Rian cursed in a low voice. Bao Changshu sighed and said, Han Eli is born with an immortal body and has bitterly cultivated for 1,000 years. Even if he loses to him, it's not a big deal. Why bother? Everyone also felt that Qin Yun stubbornly holding on like this is completely useless. He is only suffering for himself. Long Xiaofeng and Jian Rian also don't know what Xiao Yuelan is thinking, they are actually watching from the side. However, as women, they can also see that Xiao Yuelan's ice-cold eyes are filled with heartache. At the same time, they are also filled with expectation and belief. Hu Jingxian doesn't know much about Qin Yun. She believes that Qin Yun is stubbornly holding on just to vent his anger. However, Xiao Yuelan doesn't think so. She understands Qin Yun very well and knows that Qin Yun will definitely not suffer such a great loss. Qin Yun has been beaten up for so long, if he can't get his revenge, he will definitely not let this matter rest. Therefore, she guessed that Qin Yun is waiting for an opportunity. On the battle platform, Qin Yun's body emitted a kacha-kacha sound from being beaten. It is the sound of bones breaking. His bones have cultivated to the point of bone spirit. Furthermore, he has fused with the heavenly lion beast spirit. However, they have been broken into pieces inch by inch. It can be seen how powerful Han Eli is. Many of the immortal disciples present are also shocked by Han Eli's strength. It made them want to bitterly cultivate for 1,000 years and obtain this kind of power. and everyone is also shocked by Qin Yun's perseverance. He can actually endure being beaten to such a state. Han Eli seems to be very tired from fighting. If he doesn't use his full strength, he won't be able to make Qin Yun feel pain with every move. Qin Yun, do you think that by persisting like this, even if you lose, others won't gossip about you? Han Eli said with a sneer. Do you think that it's just taking a beating? You are wrong. If you persist like this, the gains will not make up for the losses. Han Eli laughed nastily and promptly squatted down. His hands overflowed with a very strong power and extended towards Qin Yun's abdomen. Ah! Qin Yun suddenly shouted. Everyone is also incomparably shocked seeing this. Han Eli made a bloody hole in Qin Yun's abdomen. There is a black Tao core inside. Black Tao core, black martial spirit, not bad, not bad. Han Eli laughed loudly and said, Qin Yun, if you want this Tao core back, you should know what to do. You want to use the Star Lord inscription spirit to exchange for it, right? Qin Yun said through gritted teeth. His entire body is covered in blood. His opened eyes are completely bloodshot. His appearance is very frightening. Han Eli looked at the black Tao core in Qin Yun's abdomen and said with a smile, It's good that you understand. Don't blame me, you brought this upon yourself. If you were not so insistent, you would not have given me this opportunity. Bao Changshu immediately said angrily, Taking out a person's Tao core is a great taboo. Totem Pavilion's Tu Tiendi said with a sneer, When Qin Yun was in martial desolate, he used other people's Tao cores to kill people. Therefore, this is only a punishment for him. Qin Yun looked at Han Eli's extended hand and immediately said angrily, Han Eli, you will regret it. Haha, I don't regret it at all. Han Eli's hand has already touched Qin Yun's Tao core. He is even more proud of himself. Medicine Immortal Valley's half-immortal is also incomparably excited, because this means that they are about to obtain the Star Lord inscription spirit. Suddenly, Han Eli touched Qin Yun's Tao core and felt a slight pain in his finger. He abruptly retracted his hand and discovered that there are 2 black dots on it. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.